both commons. So that will actually happen.
Yeah, that is a very strong possibility of actually working.
Yeah, that'll actually happen in sealed.
Which one are we talking about?
The black meld cards. They're both
common.
Yeah. So they'll happen in sealed. There's only 3 melds, and it's rare and mythic, rare and rare, common. So the black guy would
make sure
happen.
the sound's off on both.
Yeah, it's off on both sides.
And off on Twitch?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys.
We're not sorry. I needed a break.
Yeah, truthfully, we had to
Compose
I'm not gonna
ourselves.
lie. There was a Bulbasaur outside. We had to go catch it.
What? No.
I got a little worked up. This Drew Iferati guy, I've heard he's kind of like a professional, and he was on the stream, and he loves attention. So here's a shout out for that guy.
Yeah.
You know how amazing he is. And I just had to take a minute to recompose myself.
I think he's in the top 5 Magic players in the DW area too.
Yeah. There's some team names coming out for him. He's man, that guy. I've got a shrine built. It's great. He loves this attention.
All right. So
EOT news flash.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So we're just going to do a fancy edit here and just copy it all in. Okay.
We can do that.
Yeah, not a problem.
Well, rather you can do that.
Yeah, I can do all.
I'm gonna be asleep.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Oh, for crying out loud.
Oh no, not our Audacity.
No, I just need to start a new session.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna save project. That's show business, guys. You know that happens sometimes.
Are they able to hear something?
Let me check.
I believe they can.
Yes.
All right. Sweet.
Okay. Yeah. So again, apologies, guys. We lost power for a minute. We're back though.
I guess one thing we could start doing is, if whoever's gonna look at the stream, they can have headphones in.
Oh yeah.
And see if that echo starts.
Yeah. So
Yes, like if we want to actually
We'll
make
get on
ourselves
top. We'll get on top of this.
yes. So
better. Do it next time.
Next time,
There's
I'll bring
always
my
EOT news
HD
flash.
camera, so we can get a little bit extra quality out of the.
Are you saying my camera's not any good?
Confirm. We are back
Yeah.
online, and they can
I'm
hear
saying
us.
this is
Okay.
like some
Thank
DVD
you, Mary.
quality, man.
Hey, you know what? This was
Hero.
$40, but you know what? It's whatever.
You might want to restart the recording.
It's okay.
We just rambled on.
I'm gonna edit it out. Okay. It's fine. It's fine.
He doesn't know how to edit.
It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
It's called
Burning building.
Yeah.
It's called post, guys. It's called post. All right. So, choking restraints is our next card. Oh yeah. Giselle and Bruno, they're both 4s. They kill opponents. Choking restraints. This is a 2 and a white enchantment aura. It enchants a creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. And for 3 generic and 2 white, you can sacrifice choking restraints and exile enchanted creature. Shawn, how do you like this one?
The card is pretty good. It is a kind of a pacifism effect, so that's really great, and it has the ability to remove the creature later.
Yeah.
The upside of the remove, it doesn't turn off abilities, so if the creature has activated abilities, you don't get to stop that.
You lost your ratings.
It's okay.
On the
He'll
fly.
be able to wing it.
On the fly.
We don't get to shut off the card's ability to activate abilities, but the added effect of being able to destroy, have them or exile the creature later is really relevant because some decks will have incremental enchantment hate, bounce spells, things like that, so you don't get blown out by that effect later. So I think it's very solid, especially if you're an aggressive deck, where them activating abilities isn't as big of a deal. So I would say this card's a pretty good 3 as far as the removal. Based on what we've seen in Limited recently, removal is very restricted in general, so this is a pretty solid removal spell.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and move on to our next set of white cards. First one we have is Collective Effort, aka Gideon puts the shield up, flex and stuff. 1 white sorcery. Escalate. Tap an untapped creature you control. Choose 1 or more. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Destroy target enchantment or put a +1/+1 counter on each creature target player controls. Steven, how cool is this one?
So this is a solid 3.
Yeah.
It basically rewards you for doing what you're going to be doing anyway, and that's playing creatures. So you get to just tap an extra guy and put you get to choose the destroy a creature with power 4 or more, and then you just get to put 1/1 counters on everybody for free, just for tapping a guy. It's pretty fantastic.
It is absurd how cheap it is.
For me, this card's is almost a 4. Because so if you look at most of the creatures in the format, power 4 or greater is 4 mana or more. So you're gaining a mana for it.
Yeah.
And then an Anthem effect is insane.
Yeah.
The enchantment's rarely an effect, but destroy your guy that you paid more mana for than I'm paying for this spell. Anthem my board attack is just insane.
Yeah, it'll be pretty backbreaking.
Yeah. I can't imagine you losing a game where you resolve this. ever.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
All right, I'll
this
bump
is
it up.
ridiculous.
3.5. Is that okay?
Boom. I'll take
3.5.
that.
All right.
I'll take
All
that.
right.
All right, so next one we have Courageous Outriders. This is a 3 and a white human scout creature, 3/4. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a human card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Steven, how do you like this one?
Oh, this is Justin's.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Justin's? Wait.
Yeah. Steven just did one, man.
I just went.
Oh, you did just do one. Okay, Justin, how do you like this one?
I really like this card. I'm not going to give it a rating above like 2.75, but just
Fracturing our system here.
Yeah.
like just
So
because I like a card doesn't mean that
Says it's great.
doesn't mean it's great.
Rates it lowly.
Well, 2.75 is a solid rating.
Guess.
But
It's a little high.
It's a little high.
you know,
It's okay. We love
it,
you.
it does something that aggro decks have trouble doing, which is getting cards in your hand.
Yeah.
And aggro decks like live in top deck mode, which isn't a great place to be. And having something that can, just generate some extra card advantage for you is pretty good. And it doesn't have like a great body. I mean, it has a good body, not a great body for 4, but it's not like you're playing a 4-mana 2/2.
I don't know. The Outrider's pretty ripped here. It's actually a she. She's very pretty, actually. So she has a great body. Moving right along, we have Dawn Griff. This is a 2 generic and a white hippogriff, flying 2/2. It's about as vanilla as you can get without putting a fancy ability on here. So,
It has flying. It's somewhat fancy.
well, it has a ability.
Yeah.
3?
Oh man, flying.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes, it is
I also
flying.
rated this one highly.
Yeah,
Three mana flyers are always just a premium, and it's only 3 mana for a 2/2 with no drawback. A lot of times, I've seen 3 mana 2/3s can only block flyers. That kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and that card's
Yep.
still already amazing. So
Yeah.
2/2 and can actually interact with ground board, and it's a flyer for
Yeah.
aggressively costed.
Yeah, so I like it. It's definitely 2.53. Always play this guy.
A lot of flyers, especially at the common level, you pay double the cost for the power you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this guy, you're actually paying less than double the cost for the power you're getting.
Yeah. Solid curve flow here. All right, we are on to our first mythic here. This is Deploy the Gatewatch. This is a 4 white sorcery. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put up to 2 planeswalkers from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order, as if Collected Company needed a better version of itself. Shawn.
Better is a strong word.
First
First of all, creature is a far more common type than planeswalker.
That is true.
Instant's more important than sorcery.
Yep.
This card in limited you're not going to play it.
No.
You're not going to have maybe one planeswalker, and I doubt it's going to be backbreaking enough to where you're willing to tap 6 to try to find it. And then if you miss on it, then you paid 6 to time walk
do
yourself.
nothing.
So you're not going to run this in limited and even in constructed. Like the number of planeswalkers you have to run to successfully hit 2 is really off. Like you're better off just playing a big draw spell.
Yeah.
Card is not stellar. These kinds of, I mean, we've seen See the Unwritten, and that thing barely saw play in constructed. And this thing is so much more narrow version of that.
Yeah, this is a solid 0. Do not play this. If you've read Reed Duke, who's doing the Eldritch Moon review for Limited over on Channel Fireball, he made a comment about this card basically saying, if you play this, you have at least 3 planeswalkers in your Limited deck, and everybody hates you.
Yeah.
So.
And even if you have 3 planeswalkers in your limited deck, like the number of times you hit both of those in the top 7.
I don't know. When you're at 6, if you've gotten a 6 mana and you tap out for this, I think you'll find something.
You very well might not.
Yeah.
There's only 3 of them in a 40 card deck.
That's also very
But
true.
you also have to consider by the time you get up to that mana too, you've probably gone through 13, 14
But
cards.
then you also have to consider that by the time you get to that mana, you might have drawn.
Yeah,
some of
you
those
might have
Yeah,
drawn
planeswalkers.
some.
you've already drawn both of them.
This card's
Well, you'll know not to play it at that point.
This card is for like this card is for kitchen tables.
Yeah.
And it is an awful card in limited.
And
Just
super
so bad.
hardcore Planeswalker Commander decks.
Yeah.
So, you'd have to be a desperate sentry to play this in Limited, I think.
I just gotta point out the art on this. There's this tiny little lamb that she's trying to drag away from this Eldritch
Oh no!
Horde.
She's so desperate.
That lamb doesn't want to go. That lamb's like, I am Emrakul. Like, in on it.
Alright, so for 2 and a white, you get a 1/2 human soldier. When it dies, you put a 3/2 colorless Eldrazi horror creature token onto the battlefield, and when you have Delirium enabled, it gets +3/+0. So how good is this one, Steven?
It's all right. It's not fantastic just because. Well, okay, wait. Yeah, okay. If you get Delirium, it's good. It's like a 2.5.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it favorably chump blocks, and then you get something in return. So yeah,
it doesn't favorably chump block because it doesn't eat a lot of things.
Sorry, it doesn't. It will chump block,
Yeah.
and then you will get the thing that will.
Yeah, it could potentially trade up if it has Delirium and then just replace itself, which I think is pretty solid here.
Yeah.
If you're a deck that can hit Delirium, the problem is there's not a lot of 1 toughnesses, and so 3 mana for a 3/2 with no other effect is normally not very good, and this guy's not going to do anything as a 1/2.
Yep.
So you've got to be able to regularly hit Delirium to make it worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. So next one we've got is the Drug Skull Shieldmate. We have a 2 and a white Spirit Soldier, 2/3 with Flash. When it enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +0/+1 until the end of turn. Justin, how good is this?
I think this card's 2.5. It has Flash. It's 2/3 for 3 mana. I mean, that's not too bad. And then giving everything +1 can lead to some blocks that you can trade favorably on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Solid card. All right. Next one we have the Extricator of Sin. This is a 2 and a white human cleric. It's a 0/3. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another permanent, any permanent. If you do, put a 3/2 colorless Eldrazi horror creature onto the battlefield. And with Delirium enabled, at the beginning of your upkeep, you may transform Extricator of Sin unto... Internet's loading.
Extricator of Flesh is the name. I just don't know what it does.
I'm not seeing it either.
Here, I'm on the page.
I'm gonna flip over to it for the viewers.
I got it. Okay.
All right.
Eldrazi you control have Vigilance. You can pay 2 and tap it. Sacrifice a non-Eldrazi creature. Put a 3/2 colorless Eldrazi horror creature token onto the battlefield, and it's a 3/5.
Yeah, this thing is
sick,
bonkers. I gave this one a solid 3. Just making sure, because it has to have Delirium, right? Did I make sure that?
To flip it,
yes.
Yeah. So flip, you have to have Delirium, which isn't great. So I'm a little less inclined to say this is good, but that's still a super powerful ability right there.
Flips on the upkeeps. They get a turn to answer it.
In Limited, I learned pretty quickly that Delirium's pretty easy to turn on.
Yeah, that's the only thing that we're going off of here is that this is all best case scenario for all these cards. Mm-hmm. So we're assuming that your deck is built to actually take advantage of this effect.
And the important thing to remember with this guy over the Desperate Sentry is he enables Delirium. Because when he enters, you sacrifice something that is no longer important to help add to that Delirium. You sacrifice a land, you sacrifice an enchantment you're not using anymore. It could be an aura, an artifact, and now you've got this one piece, because that used to be in Shadows, it was hard to get some enchantments and artifacts into your yard sometimes.
Yeah.
So now this guy gives you a way to eat one of those things, turn on Delirium, get a 3/2. So you basically pay 3 mana for a 3/5 worth of power, and then eventually you start getting more stuff out of it.
Yeah. Very, very solid and common for Limited. All right, next one we've got is Faith Unbroken, 3 and a white enchantment aura. It enchants a creature you control. When Faith Unbroken enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls until Faith Unbroken leaves the battlefield. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. Go.
So I'm pretty sure this ends up being a filler card, but it's really weird because typically you don't play enchantments because you just get 2 for 1, but in this situation you actually get to remove something.
Yeah.
So if you're playing against a deck that doesn't have instant speed removal, this is fine.
Yes.
But I don't know, like this will be an interesting card.
It's probably in the realm of like a 2.5. Fiend Hunter kind of cards are amazing.
Yeah.
But you have to have a creature to get that effect. But also the fact that it makes the creature bigger lets you dodge certain removal spells.
Yeah.
So it's a weird card, but I would say it's probably about a 2.5.
Yeah,
that's fair.
You only have so many slots for non-creature spells, but if you are lacking in your other removal spells, this one's pretty good. This also resets flipped cards. This also just can eat a token, and then it's no longer a 2 for 1. What it does is very weird, and you normally don't have very many spaces, so you'd rather run other removal spells, but it is very admirable in the spot you do. Like if you have a lot of they sacrifice an attacking creature, you want something that can target. So this will fill a target spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this card's very good. Next one we've got is the Faith Bearer Paladin. This is a 4 and a white 3/4 human knight with lifelink. Yay! Justin?
Oh boy.
Filler card, moving on.
Yeah.
Solid 2. Anyway. Next one we've got is Fiendbinder. 3 and a white for a 3/2 human soldier. Whenever it attacks, tap a target creature defending player controls. I've read some mixed reviews on this guy. I think it's very powerful for a common. The ability to tap down their biggest guy, maybe not for the turn, obviously untaps on their next turn, but just to get through a couple points of damage left over, and the body's not terrible. This thing's pretty good, I think.
Yeah, the body's pretty bad for 4.
That is very bad.
We just said earlier 3 for a 3/2 is not great. 4
Yeah.
for a 3/2 is really bad.
Yeah, I think the ability makes up for it, and again, this is common. It's perfect filler though.
Yeah.
For what it does.
It's probably in the realm of a 1.5 to a 2 on the sheer fact that at 4 mana you want to be doing something more proactive.
Yeah.
You're not getting this guy's effect until he attacks.
Yeah, that's
so
also
if,
true.
he's not like a hook master. If it was come in, do it, then every time he attacks, he'd be really good.
Sure.
But you have to be able to
gosh.
swing on turn 5, and a lot of times on turn 5 when you swing at this guy, they're going to be able to eat him.
Yeah.
And they get to see it coming. So you'll get one effect out of it, and then it gets blocked by a 2-drop Grizzly Bear. And so now your 4 mana got traded for a 2 mana.
Yeah.
If it was 3 toughness, I think this card would be a lot more interesting.
Just be a 3/3, yeah, I can agree with that.
But then you still have to worry about most of the Eldrazi tokens and whatnot are 3/2s.
Yeah.
So anything that can produce one of those would still get in the way. But then this just gets blocked.
Yeah. So
it's interesting.
I like it as just pure filler. All right, next one we've got is the Geist of the Lonely Vigil. This is a 1 and a white 2/3 defender flying. So Steven already likes it because it has defender. And if you have Delirium enabled, it can attack as though it didn't have defender. Steven.
It's all right.
I thought you did the last
you
one.
just talk
Yeah,
about
you
that?
just did the last one.
Oh.
Well, you made a comment, so
He's passed the last twice.
okay.
I don't care.
Shawn,
Steven take it.
how do you like Geist of the Lonely Vigil?
No, I'm out of it.
All right. You'll get to do the next one and the next one.
No, I'm just
We'll
thirsty.
give you 2 turns. I don't care. What has defenders? I didn't give it to Steven.
No, Steven deserves it.
Oh, thank you.
Because he's so lonely.
Oh my.
Lonely.
I'm just
Well,
You are loved.
okay.
You are loved.
I think it's okay. It's still a filler card because I don't know if the white deck's going to be able to reliably. Well, yeah, you have Angelic Purge, so I guess you would still be able to reliably get Delirium online. So
And the
Nah,
Extricator of
dude.
Sin.
okay,
The
it's
two-
probably fine.
If you compare it to the 2-drop Shadows 2/2 that got flying whenever he had Delirium, he would normally get flying within a reasonable time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. And it's also a favorable blocker too because it's a 2/3, and that's going to be most of what comes down on the board at that point.
Yeah,
Turn
all
1
all
and 2
their
it
Grizzly
all.
Bears.
Yeah.
Yes.
It fights well. Yeah. So, moving on, we've got Gisela. We already talked about her. She's a 4. She's great. Moving on, we're not getting her any ground at all. We're going to move on down. To give no ground. Oh, coincidence there.
Sure it was.
No, it wasn't at all. We have a 3 and a white instant that gives a target creature you control +2/+6 until the end of turn and can block any number of creatures. It's like the 100-handed one from Theros.
Well,
that, card was,
Not quite.
that card was okay.
he could only block about 100 creatures.
Yeah.
But he
So,
himself
yeah.
could do it, not this spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if they Splinter Twin you, you can block them all with this spell. You can't block them all with 100.
Wow. Tech.
Yeah.
That's tech.
Tech on the band Splinter Twin.
Yeah, exactly.
For your kitchen table play groups, this card's nuts. It's your friend who just won't give away Splinter Twin for nothing. All right, Justin, how do you give no ground?
So are you skipping Shawn again?
No, yeah,
Oh, I
just
am.
keep it on. Keep the system going.
It's a sideboard card. If they're playing an aggro deck, you bring this in, and it's a surprise blowout. I guess. If that, yeah.
I don't even like it really.
Well, like I said, sideboard. Don't put it in your main board.
I'm not sure when you even bring it in.
It would take a very sizable creature already to make it be a blowout. You need something with at least 4 power to really make this thing be effective.
Because just because it's blocking doesn't mean it's killing. So,
Yeah,
true.
You might get like a 2-for-1, maybe a 3-for-1 out of it, and it's taking up one of your very, very few spell slots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not something I don't want to give it any ground. Moving on, we've got Guardian of the Pilgrims. This is a 2/2 for 1 and a white Spirit Cleric. When it enters battlefield, target creature gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. Shawn?
Oh, we're doing this one?
Yeah, you did this one.
This card's really good.
Yeah.
If you play during cons block, that's you got your homework lesson to learn that you need grizzly bears, and this guy's a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
But he's a grizzly bear that pumps somebody. It's a little awkward though that like the turn if you play him on turn 2, a lot of times you don't get that other effect out of him, but it lets him scale up for later in the game. Card's phenomenal. You're gonna snap run. If you get 6 of these, you might not run all 6, but you're gonna if you have 2 or 3, you'll probably run all of them in your white deck.
Easily. Yeah,
because you want grizzly bears, especially ones that can anthem.
Yeah, absolutely. And next one we have is the Ironclad Slayer. This is a 2 and a white 3/2 human warrior. When it enters the battlefield, you may return target target aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. Steven, this isn't very good, is it?
I think it's fine because it basically fills the same slot as like a Monk Idealist or something like that, and it has 1 more power.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see, what all. Yeah, I mean, it gets back enough in white by itself that I would probably say it's playable, and you'd probably want to just put it in even if you have 1 or 2 enchantments.
Yeah.
But
if you get back your Fiend Hunter enchantment, that's fine.
Yeah. Makes it a 5/4.
You get to use that thing
ridiculous.
twice.
Yeah. I think even without an enchantment or equipment to go get back, I think it's just fine as a curve filler. Yeah, it's probably cuttable at that point, but it can feel like you're liking playables.
It might trade up. Some of the toughnesses are a little bit low in the set.
Yeah.
But yeah, the effect of it's really, really strong if you have anything to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rarely the equipment unless you milled it, but the aura is pretty relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. The next one we have is Iron Right's Cleansing. This is a 2 and a white sorcery, exile target artifact or enchantment. Justin, this can't be any better than sideboard, right?
Yeah, sideboard.
All right, moving on.
You'll get one here in a moment, Justin.
Yeah, 2 sideboard cards in a row.
He doesn't get one. The next one he gets is pretty bad too.
What do I get?
All right, let's get me, and I'll take one.
No, I'm gonna keep this game going. Actually, it's kind of funny.
No.
See how long we can keep Justin out of the podcast.
This is so rude.
Next one we have is the Lone Rider. This is a 1 and a white 1/1 human knight with first strike, lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain more than 3 life this turn, transform Lone Rider. Hopefully Salvation has the flip side loaded. Hey, it does. With the best name ever. This is It That Rides as One. This is a 4/4 Eldrazi horror with first strike, trample, and lifelink.
The flavor text.
The flavor text is nuts. It talks about if the person has seen, horse and rider ride.
Or often one of mine.
One of mine. Never seen them as one of body.
And this thing is the perfect example of the horrors that Imrakul is wrecking on Innistrad.
Yeah, absolutely.
This thing is gross.
Yeah, if you can get this thing to flip in limited, which I don't know how easily that can be done.
Well, there's a Blessed Alliance spell that gains you 4.
Well, on its own. You need some Anthem effects, but if this thing does flip, this is an absolute nightmare to deal with. On its own, since you have to build around it, I don't think it's any better than a 2.5 just because the body is so small. Mm-hmm. The first strike makes it a little bit more relevant, but I think other than that, it's still pretty big on its own.
Yeah. I'm just glad that this never showed up on the Halloween edition of the Lone Ranger. Otherwise, I would have been scarred as a child.
That's fair. That has some very just classically old school horror trope to it. That's great. Yeah. So next one we have The Long Road Home, which one of us will be walking later, I think. This is a 1 and a white instant. At exile target creature at the beginning of the next end step. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. They +1/+1 counter. This is pretty good, right, Shawn?
Not really.
No, it's not at all.
If your opponent is in a control deck with a lot of removal spells, you might bring it in. There's not a ton of enter the battlefield effects that I've seen so far.
Yeah, there's a couple decent ones in blue, which make this a little bit more relevant, but other than that, it's still...
Yeah, the blue spirits kind of list will have some effects you might do it with, but there's a lot of them where you're just not going to want this card.
Well, the white spirit, the grizzly bear, that gives 1/1 on entry.
Yeah, but that's the thing is there's some cards that have small effects, but then you're justifying running one of your 7 spells to be a bad spell to justify a small bonus.
Yeah.
Because you can also blink the guy who gets back an aura. There's different things you can blink. You can blink the guy who lets you sack a permanent and get a 3/2. And so there's all these synergies you can find, but they're not huge payoffs, and you're losing one of your removal slots for it.
Yep. Okay. So it's a pretty lesson to learn when you're playing limited, is that you don't want to give away, just because you have synergy doesn't mean you want to give away a potentially better spell just because you have if you draw the 2 cards together, you've got some sort of a combo going that might just be completely irrelevant to the game.
Yeah, traditional limited decks, you have 6 to 8 spells. So do you want this to be one of your spells, or do you want to kill one of their threats?
Yeah, 100%. Next one we have is the Lunarch Mantle. This is a 1 and a white enchantment aura that enchants a creature. It gets +2/+2 and has pay 1, sack a permanent. This creature gains flying until the end of turn. Steven, how do you like this one?
This one's interesting. You're probably not going to play it, but if for some reason you need it, it's good if you flood out, which is weird because, I don't think it's going to...
Even if you can enable the last bit of Delirium, you have a land or just... I'm just trying to make base case scenario for this card.
I think... I still don't think it's better because it's just an enchantment that'll allow you to get 2 for 1. So I don't think it's necessary.
There you go. All right, Justin.
It's a sideboard card unless you have Lone Rider. Peace of Mind, 2 mana. You can pay 1 white, discard a card, gain 3 life.
And it doesn't have to. Oh, it's an enchantment, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It is an
I thought
enchantment.
it was a creature.
No, it's an enchantment.
I mean, but we are getting this. We are going to have some Shadows packs with this, so it is a pretty sweet Madness enabler.
Yeah,
Yes.
If you didn't get a good Call of the Bloodline, you know this.
Yeah, if you're in white-black or white-red with some vampires with Madness, this is not terrible, but it's definitely a card I think you have to build around or sideboard in some cases. So
It's very fringe.
yeah, maybe Justin will get a better card on the next go around. Next one we have a pretty sweet rare that I like quite a bit. We have Providence. Now this is a 5 white sorcery. You may reveal this from your hand at the beginning of your opening hand, I should say. And if you do, at the beginning of your upkeep, your first upkeep, your life total becomes 26. And you may cast this, and your life total becomes 26. So Eldritch, Lovecraftian themes aside, which is where this card is, the name comes from, Providence, Massachusetts, where the whole Call of Cthulhu actually comes from. I actually like this card a lot for limited. I've talked about the theory that I've learned from some friends that if you can gain enough life in a game of limited, your opponent can't actually beat you anymore. If you reset your life total and then some, they have to slog through all of it again, and you're going to need to draw more cards, put more pressure on the board, and still whittle their life total down. So you're effectively getting 46 life. No, maybe 30-something life in a game of Magic if you cast this card at any point. I think...
Card in Hearthstone called Reno Jackson that resets your life to 30. It's played quite often because resetting the game turns out it's really good.
Yeah. I don't know if it's good enough for 7 mana though.
7 mana will be hard to get up.
7 mana is rough. I want to be more proactive and limited because I also don't want draws.
Yeah.
And Reno Jackson's a 4/6. This is just a sorcery spell. You can't do it in response to dying. If they're killing you, they're killing you. You can't. It just sits there and you're like, I wish I would have cast this last turn.
Yeah.
I probably don't, even if I open them, see myself ever running this in limited.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree.
There's other incremental life gains that can still fill that kind of gap that you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Next one we have is Repel the Abominable. This is a 1 and a white instant. Prevent all damage that would be dealt this turn by non-human sources. How do you like this one, Steven? Dang it, I did it again, Shawn. You're the last thing I heard, so I'm just assuming you're the next person to talk.
I'll sit in silence for now. No, this card's really, really good. I don't think it's as good in limited as it's going to be in constructed because there's just going to be so many decks with humans that you don't always get the blowouts.
Okay.
In constructed, this card for sure. If Chandra's big, if there's all these board states that aren't human based, this card's gonna be insane for human decks. Now, if the format is all humans and Radiant Flames, then you can run Jamoka's commands and stuff like that. But
sure.
But this gets to stop. Radiant Flame stops Kozilek's Return, stops Chandra, stops Collected Company from blocking you very well. So in constructed, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And limited, there's a lot of decks are gonna have humans. So you have to hope that they block in a way where this card gives you the blowout, or you block in a way where this card gives you the blowout. So it's less killer and limited, but it's still probably maybe main deckable if you need a spell, or you can at least for sure sideboard it.
Yeah, I had that with this in constructed, but that's a really good point actually. I like that a lot. Next one we have is the Sanctifier of Souls. This is a 3 and a white human cleric 2/3. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +1/+1 until the end of turn, and you may pay 2 and a white to exile a creature card from your graveyard and put a 1/1 white spirit creature with flying on the battlefield. This one's pretty sweet, I think.
I think it's okay. If it had evasion or just something else, I think it would be a lot better. But since it itself just gets +1, you're probably like maybe playing 2 creatures a turn, so it puts it up to a 4/5, which you'll be able to maybe kill one of their creatures that turn.
Yeah.
But the advantage this card provides is mainly just going to be in the flying engine, and if your creatures are dying, like the board state, you might be behind. I don't know. I think it'll probably be good in the right situation, but I don't think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was so close to a fixed Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah.
Why couldn't it be from any graveyard? Like 3-mana exile creature from any graveyard and get a 1/1 is still probably fine. Like,
Yeah.
And he gets chump blocked. Like, so close. When I read it at first, I missed your graveyard, and I was about to be like really excited. But it's like, I get to use this guy when I'm losing the game. Sweet.
Yeah. Card is still pretty good. All right. Justin, you actually get
I get a real card.
a real card this time.
I get a real card, guys.
This is Selfless Spirit. It's a 1 and a white 2/1 Spirit Cleric with flying, and you can sacrifice it, and creatures you control gain indestructible until the end of turn.
I love this card. 3.5, 2 mana, 2/1 flyer. That's pretty fun.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. All right.
Because just having your creatures, being able to sack this guy to save your board. So if they've got a board wipe, if they've got, if they're removing, say, your Brazella.
Okay.
Just there's so many situations where giving your entire board indestructible is fantastic. Also, I'm a fan of on-board battle tricks because now the opponent has, they can't be like, oh, well, he probably doesn't have it. No, they know I have it. They're forced to play around whatever it is, whether, like, for example, Sigil of Strength, sacrifice it, creature gets +2/+2.
Yeah.
Suddenly blocks get wonky.
Yeah. So they have to play. They need to play into it to make sure it doesn't happen later in the game.
I still think it's better though if you have the surprise comeback trick.
That's always true.
The onboard tricks help with bluffing and getting through some of the math because in some instances you don't want to care. You wouldn't care if you're just going to turn sideways and sack this, but most of the time it's better to have the hidden trick.
The concealed information
This guy just tells your opponent, make sure your blocks are correct.
Yeah, exactly.
The big thing with this card is a grizzly bear that flies is sweet.
Yeah.
It's fine with me.
Very, very true. All right, so I get a bad card, it looks like.
Do you need help with this one?
No, I don't.
You don't need any aid?
No, not even from Sigarda do I need her aid. This is a 1 white enchantment. You may cast an aura and equipment spells as though it had flash. Whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may have it attached to target creature you control. This card is crap. Don't play this. I don't know why this is a rare or even printed. Moving on.
No. Does it have any
modern applications?
Yeah, for Cheerios. Sorry, words are hard, guys.
Yes and no. The issue is it's really good on turn 1, but then because you're going to play your, is it Pure Steel Paladin?
Yeah, it's Pure Steel Paladin
on turn 2.
Yeah.
The problem is though that with Sigurda's Aid, you have to play 4 of them so that you can get it on turn 1. But then you don't ever want to draw it
after that.
Yeah,
that's fair.
It is nice that if you play the 0/3 shield,
the quarter shield. It's probably good in that deck because on combo decks, the ability to go off at instant speed. Look at Gorilla Vengeance. That's what makes that deck so good is it can go off at instant speed.
Also ad nauseum.
And ad nauseum. So the ability to go off at instant speed makes this pretty good. The effect is very, very strong, and it will probably see some place somewhere. Not limited, but not probably in standard, but in modern, it does a lot of stuff really well.
The application is narrow for the number of decks it does anything in, but as far as when it goes, don't touch this.
I mean, even it might not fit, but even in Boggles, the ability just to flash in an Umbra.
Oh yeah,
I think that's
I thought about that as well.
They normally just tap out for it anyway, but
yeah. So let's move on to a much better card. This is Sigardian Priest. This is a 1 and a white 1/2 human cleric that you may pay 1 and tap it to tap a non-human creature. Shawn.
Card is very, very good. That effect is very good. Gideon's Lawkeeper effects, where you tap down other creatures, is very strong. Again, it's unfortunate that it's a non-human. There are a lot of humans in Shadows and Eldritch Moon. But there's also a lot of Eldrazi. There's a lot of werewolves. Like it taps down flipped werewolves.
Yes.
So this kind of effect.
Well, it taps all werewolves in Eldritch because all the werewolves are werewolf horrors.
Like if you draft, you're gonna have 2 packs of Shadows. I think, right? Isn't it 2-1?
I think it's 2 moon.
Yeah, 2
1
moon,
shadow.
1 shadow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Normally, the first set gets the multiple.
I might have that backwards. If
Maybe-
it is backwards, let us know.
In most cases, it's like Battle was 2, Oath was 1.
For some reason, I always thought it was the newest one you get 2.
Everybody says you should because it's
yeah.
the new set, but it normally doesn't work.
And
out.
they've flipped that in recent years because it used to be like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And made things really awkward for a lot of drafting.
It makes
because you don't want your small set to be the one you have more of because then it really dilutes the draft.
Yeah.
Right. It makes it easier for
So when we do
set
sealed,
design.
is it going to be 4 shadow and 2?
No, 4 moon, 2 moon.
Okay,
2
so
And
shadows.
sealed is a different beast.
Sealed is opposite. Okay.
Yeah.
But this, even if you don't have a couple targets, like 2 mana for 1/2 is not very good, but the opportunity cost of being able to pay 1 to lock something down is solid.
Yeah.
So this card is a good 3, maybe a 3.5 that goes in most. If you're in white, you're gonna run this card. Because everybody's gonna have a non-human, a spider that can block 7 additional creatures that you want to tap down.
Yeah.
Things like that. So
This
it's really
is
fun.
actually a functional reprint, if I'm not thinking of a card from original Innistrad block that was one of the best commons in this set, I believe, in white. The name escapes me, but I believe it is correct.
Most bomb creatures are not humans. Humans by nature are small.
Yeah.
So this is my 2 mana shuts down your 7 mana or whatever cost it is. So you get to shut down a lot of bombs. It's really good.
Very, very good card. Next one we have is Spectral Reserves. We have a 3 and a white sorcery to put 2 1/1 spirit creatures with flying on the battlefield and gain 2 life. Steven, do you want these in your reserves? Or would you prefer timely reinforcements?
Not exactly. They'd probably be a little more helpful. The
agree.
fact that these are flyers and you have other potential anthem effects, it's nice. I wouldn't put this highly. Or I wouldn't throw this in a deck like right away, but if you're trying to fill that last few slots and you're already playing the Anthem deck, I think this is a fine addition.
Sure.
Also, the 2 life is a nice buffer, but
Yeah, absolutely.
And once again, it goes back to the if you've got the Lone Rider, attack with it and play that card, and it flips.
No, it's 4 life.
If you show me
Oh,
your
it's
sealed,
4 life?
well,
Yeah.
no,
Lone
it's
Rider's 3.
Oh, it's 3 to 4.
yeah.
That's right.
That works, but it's like you have to hope he doesn't.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't die in combat. Because at 4 mana, they have something that eats him.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now, it is... If you show me a sealed deck with 2 of these, then I think you probably did something wrong. I could see the 1.
Yeah.
Because there's some spirit synergies. But if you go like, what do you think of my sealed deck? And you're running 3 of this card, I'm going to throw it on the ground for you. Like,
Whoa, that's really drastic.
No, that's a service that Shawn
I'll get asked
provides
to
at
leave.
every pre-release. He is the official deck thrower on the ground guy.
Yep.
And he's happy to do so. It's free, actually.
Good or bad deck, I like to just throw them on the ground. 52 card pickup.
You mean 40.
40 card pickup?
Not everybody builds a good deck.
Maybe 41.
Not all sealed decks are good decks, guys. You'll know if you're sitting up on the floor. All right, moving on. We have the Steadfast Cathar. This is a 1 and a white human soldier. It's a 2/1. Whenever it attacks, it gets +0/+2 until the end of turn. Justin.
I mean, when you're attacking with it, which is what you're supposed to be doing in a human's deck, it's a 2/3 for 2 mana. It's going to be able to survive attacking into their 2 mana creature.
Yeah.
So that's relevant, I guess.
Easily trades up.
Yep.
All right. Next one we have.
The only problem is it trades up on their decision.
Yep.
That is also very true. Yeah. Can I not scroll down anymore? It's just hypertext religion here. That's okay. All right.
And power and toughness. That's okay.
Yeah. We'll work on it later.
They're only all creatures.
Yeah, they're only all creatures. Wow. Okay,
That's why
so
blue's better. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait,
it just says draw a card, and you're like,
maybe I can fix this. Audacity or
It's okay.
OBS is only as powerful as they make it, so I'm gonna try and do something here.
I feel like we're making it worse.
No, I got this.
Take the band-aid off.
Yeah, there we
There
go.
you go.
All right,
You're
so
welcome, guys.
we have the Subjugator Angel. This is a 4 white creature. It's an angel. It's a 4/3. It has flying. When it enters the battlefield, tap all creatures your opponent controls. Turn 6 happens. You draw this. The board is stalled, and you tap it for this and play it. You kill your opponent.
Probably.
More than likely, yeah. Yeah. I'm waiting for Shawn to just go, no, you're wrong.
I love fat flyers. I love fat flyers to win the game without having to attack.
There you go.
Sweet. Yeah.
Problem solved. All right. Moving on to our next card. We've got, oh, God.
Shawn wins. Shawn wins again.
I'm going to preface by saying this. I hate this card. It doesn't need to exist. I don't know what world.
This is why you're not reviewing
card
it.
is beautiful.
I'll review it.
It's beautiful, but I don't know what need this fills for Magic. But anyway, this is Thalia, Heretic Cathar, not her sister because it would be a catharsis. I have to ruin this card in some way.
And also collector of Alex's salt.
Yeah, seriously. You have a 2/1 or a 2 and 1 white mana, 3/2 human soldier legendary with first strike that makes creatures and non-basic land your opponent control enter the battlefield tapped.
So we have a 4.0.
Yeah.
You run this in your limited because it's a 3/2 first strike that makes their dudes come down tapped. And in constructed, this card is going to do so much work. Like all these greedy 3-color decks that people are still trying to have happen with their Cocos. That's fine. You fetch your 2 bases with your Evolving Wilds. You try to play your Prairie Stream. That still comes in tapped. This.
Yeah.
Oh, Evolving Wilds enters tap.
Yeah.
Evolving Wilds in this tapped, dude. This card is insane. This card is so
They cast
good.
Collected Company, show your targets, and you go, okay, that's great. In response, I'm going to Coco. Oh wait, I hit my own Thalia.
No, you don't get to see their targets.
Oh, that's right. So you Thalia.
You have to do it in response.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, if they Coco, you Coco in response and hit this, it taps their guy. This card is insane. It's gonna do a lot of work in Eternal formats, in Modern, and in Legacy.
Yep.
I play Legacy Eldrazi. I don't have a single land that comes into play untapped against this.
Yep.
Reality Smash is a whole lot less
How
impressive.
can you
coming
even
in tapped.
kill this thing? You have Warping Whale, right?
Warping
Whale can't kill that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Right now, my list has Warping Whale. I went away from Dismembers because most of the stuff I wanted to kill was 1 power or toughness.
Yeah.
Now I have to move back to Dismember
man.
because of this thing. But this card is extremely good.
Although, once they do the buyout on City of Traders, you're going to sell the deck anyway.
Most likely.
Yeah.
That's
a completely different
a
topic
whole
for another
other
day.
show. Yeah. We'll
Never
go over that.
mind. We're not going to talk about that tonight.
But it's gonna, and then even in standard, it's gonna get a lot of free wins. In limited, the land aspect's not as big, but the creatures is still really huge. And in standard, people just really aren't acknowledging this card as much. It's gonna get so many free wins from these ramp decks that think they're gonna untap and play their guy, and they play their land, comes in tapped. They play their guy, comes in tapped, and you still just kill them.
Yeah.
It gives the humans deck this last little push.
Yeah.
You need a push.
They need a little bit of a push.
No. Thalia's Lieutenants.
This is a card that I don't even think needs to exist, but it does. So we're going to move on to her Lancers. This is Thalia's Lancers. 3 white, human knight, 4/4, first strike. Enters the battlefield. You may search your library for a legendary card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your library. This card seems good, Steven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a solid 3.
Yep.
Even if you're not running a legendary creature, it's important to note... Wait, we went offline for some reason. Anyway, it's important to note that the 4/4 first strike is pretty much going to beat anything in combat, especially with the different tricks that white will have access to.
Yep.
So if you don't get a search, it's fine. If you get a search, it's even better.
Yeah.
So you search for Thalia.
If you search for Bruna or
Gisela,
it's just super great.
Yeah.
This card's nuts.
I mean, if she finds Thalia,
She finds any legendary permanent.
That's any legendary card. So
that is a very relevant thing to get. So.
Does the errata make planeswalkers? I know that they have legendary rule. But does errata make
no, it does not.
legendary?
It has to have it in their type line.
Okay.
For it to actually work.
I knew that they're treated like legends.
But this
Yes.
can go get Gaia's Cradle.
Yeah.
And Caracas.
Yeah.
Ivugan. White Eldrazi. Look at that.
And
Here we
vintage
go.
because it's a thing.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to our
Okay, 5
last
mana for this guy.
white card. We have Thraben Standard Bearer. I wish it was a flag bearer. Just to rub it in for people who got to play EMA just one last go around that stupid 2/4.
oh god, I hated that card.
I wish it was. That would be insane.
Wow.
So for 1 white mana, you get a 1/1 human soldier. You may tap 1 white and 1. Tap itself, discard a card, and put a 1/1 white human soldier creature token onto the battlefield. I think we're finishing strong here with you, Justin. How good is this card?
2.5.
Yeah.
I mean, discarding cards. So once again, if we're in a deck with Delirium or Madness, we can get some value out of there. Or if you're just top decking lands, you can turn them into soldiers. So, That's not too bad. Not something that I'm, super excited to get, but it could get some solid value.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
It's decent.
He's
Solid
probably,
filler.
he's probably one of my first cuts. I don't like my Call of the
Yeah.
Bloodline being killable. Like, Call of the Bloodline
Yeah.
is the exact reverse on cost. You pay 2 and it's 1 to activate.
Yeah.
And it's an enchantment, so it can't die. This thing can die. This thing doesn't do much in a deck that, like, plays out its hand. And you're only getting 1/1s that don't have flying. Like, Call of the Bloodline is, like, a far better version of the card. And even that card was...
I think if my opponent is discarding cards to keep themselves alive for that much longer, they are losing the game already.
Yeah.
This is a resource trade that I don't think I'm going to pay for.
Yeah,
but
you can't
I might be
activate this
wrong.
multiple turns in a row either.
Yeah, that would be insane. But
Like,
as
Call
it
of the Bloodline,
is-
you just machine out
Yep.
these Excess Madness cards and things like that. But
Yeah, as it is, it's meh. So yeah. So
That Alex's view changed on the card.
well, it's
in a
okay.
couple sentences.
It's okay, and it's just not that great.
So I said 2.5.
Yeah. So that is the end of the white review for Eldritch Moon. We're gonna stop the recording and stay on streams. We don't have. We can just have a smoothest transition. Jump right into the blue cards for you guys watching on Twitch. The blue episode will be loaded up later as soon as it goes up on MTG Cast. So if you're listening to this online, you can just listen to this pretty much immediately after that's over. But yeah, thanks for sticking along with us, guys, and big thanks to Shawn, Justin, and Steven for hanging out with us tonight. We're gonna jump right back into it and do it again, and again, and again, and again. And you can check out all of our stuff on Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. It's in the show notes. You know how it works, so go check those things out. So we'll be back with blue cards.
Not everyone. We'll figure it out. In the next
You can
episode.
find us on Twitter at EOT Newsflash. You can find us on Facebook at EOT Newsflash. You can email us on Gmail, eotnewsflash@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/EOT Newsflash.
There you go.
It's like a soundbite now.
Make it a sound.
You need to
bite.
repeat that slower.
No,
There were so many people who couldn't.
I've
understand
repeated
that.
it
I was trying
over.
to take notes, and you.
I've repeated it close to 50 times now.
Do you want one of us to repeat it for you?
No, I don't, because we're stopping the recording
You
right
should
now.
just have this like pre-recorded and just include it.
I should on a button, a preset. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll be right back with the blue cards. All right, so who's all in the chat right now? Are we getting anything? Any
It
good
is-
comments?
I would imagine still Drew, Mary, and it looks like maybe one other person.
Cool.
That might be Audrey.
So
It's Nathan, and he said he didn't catch that. Can you repeat it?
No. For
Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah.
For Nathan,
Thank you.
I will not.
Oh.
Whoa.
We're gonna start dividing our listeners.
Oh, no.
That's a good way to succeed.
Did the viewer go down? Oh, how could you? It was me because I left it.
By
left it.
one.
There goes our ad
My
sponsorship.
phone died, by the way, so.
Well,
it didn't die. It's at 2%.
Okay.
We're never
fine.
making it
I-
for blue.
I got my
trying.
boy. Don't worry, I got him.
God.
Why
We'll
does
try.
Robbie
Yeah, I'm trying to like peer over both so I can still look at the camera and interact with the audience, even though I just get to sit here and like or
I do a lot of head shaking back here,
Yeah.
but not the
Yeah.
up and down one.
All right.
Oh, Nathan is hurt.
I'm sorry, Nathan.
He said, "Ouch,"
Sticks and stones.
with an
bro.
asterisk.
We're sorry
Hey
that
man,
Alex is a jerk.
psychological effects.
Hey,
Sticks and stones weigh you down.
I'm a blue mage. I'm all about psychological warfare. Alright. Here we go.
Today.
You guys having fun tonight?
Yeah.
Having a good time? That was mostly for the chat, but you guys can respond to that as well if you want.
Oh. No. Reconsidering life choices. Could be out making millions of dollars, but no, I'm still doing this.
Hey, if you're making millions of dollars, let us in on that action right there.
You're buying all the city traders, aren't
Oh
you?
yeah, the city traders buyout. Since we're not on recording right now.
Yeah.
Once these buyout guys who keep buying out reserve cards buy out city traders and it skyrockets, I'm selling.
Yeah.
So I got all my ancient tombs for $10 a piece,
From
and
me.
now they're 45.
Oh, okay.
And so it's because they're just buying up legacy cards that haven't seen mass reprints. And so the moment they buy out city traders, I'm gonna probably just sell the whole deck because there's they bought out Moat and it went from 300 to 600. They bought out Gaia's Cradle, went from like 100 to like 200 or 300. Like there's just all these jumps.
Tabernacle.
LED.
Shot up. Yeah.
So-
LEDs
I thought it
jump
was
this
an
guy.
asterisk. I thought
So
that's
do we
what
know
I
what
said.
Wizards is
maybe
going to
not.
do in
My
response to
bad.
all these buyouts?
Yeah.
Or?
Wizards won't make a statement because Wizards' official stance is they don't acknowledge the secondary market.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, TCG Player has put out a new pricing structure with market pricing now, which is going to save people from losing too much money when they buy cards, but it's still...
It just depends on whatever the demand is. I mean, if people are going to pay that much, I mean, it's what they're
like, I understand that they ignore the secondary market or whatever, but they created the reserved list in recognition of the secondary market. And if the reserve list is
they created it for collectors.
For collectors.
Yeah, collectors, because they acknowledged that the secondary market
they didn't acknowledge the secondary market.
Because they didn't, because at the time they didn't know if Magic was actually going to take off.
Yeah, there was no real, like, it used to be like Black Lotus was like $20.
Had nothing to do with the money perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back then cards were not expensive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, still like 20. Well, what is 94? Okay, yeah. So $20 was still like more than what it is now.
Yeah. But that's it wasn't an exorbitant amount of money to pay for a piece of cardboard to play a popular card.
And at the time, no other card game had been keeping up. It was just sports.
Yeah. Sports cards were a great analogy to relate to that at the time, but now it's just complete. It's its own.
They will probably do something, but they refuse to acknowledge it. So, like, I've talked to some people who've talked to people at Wizards, Sovereignty people. Like, I was talking to somebody this weekend about it, and they were talking to somebody who said their statement was, "We know there's an issue for Eternal formats." And when they were asked about the money side, they're like, "We know there's an issue for availability of cards at the Eternal format," but they refuse to word it in a way that says, "We know these cards are getting expensive."
Yeah,
they word it as availability.
Yeah, beating around the bush expertly right
they
now.
still might do something if there's a big enough demand for it. Like, so there's a cool article where they did an interview with one of the guys doing the buyouts, and he made the point that if somebody's willing to spend $2,500 on a deck, they'll spend $2,800 on the deck.
Yeah.
Because the moat going up $300 doesn't matter because they only run one.
Yeah.
And he made the same point of, if I didn't do this, somebody else was going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's just inevitable.
I mean, the stores do it.
Yeah, the stores are already doing it. It's funny that we have the face of Scarelli, I think is his name, Martin Scarelli.
Yeah, he's started doing buyouts now.
Well,
it was originally some guy named Craig.
Yeah, Craig was the original
he's
guy.
the primary.
I thought Craig was the person because he has so many people who he influences and who influence him in order to.
There's a lot of people. That's the other thing. Is like he doesn't have to do all the buyouts because he'll post videos on his Facebook feed for his friends. He said that in the interview.
Yep.
And he says, "I'll post videos telling my friends which card I'm about to buy out." So those people then go buy the cards, reducing the number he needs to buy to impact the market. And then all of them profit, but he doesn't have to put as much money into it. So like he's got a good system, but I think eventually EMA was probably a test for the situation to see whether or not it's worth getting back into. And we've now seen that EMA didn't impact the prices of these cards. Some of them went up. So they can actually put on the reserve list in an EMA set and not have to worry about collectors saying I'm losing the value of my collection. Because the Wasteland went down to 35 and back to 50 before a week of release. Force of Will is going for more now than it was before EMA came out.
Well, the old version didn't change price, but the new Force of Will is more expensive than the old Force of Will.
Yeah, it's
the old version was getting sold for down to about 60, and it's gone up to like 70, 75.
Okay, I mean I haven't checked in about 3 weeks.
There's been some weird fluctuations.
The old ones were at 60 for a while,
but that's what I'm telling you. They've gone
90.
back up. That's what I'm saying. Is that it actually had the effect. So now they know that if they do it, it's not going to hose everybody as long as they do it under a certain amount of control.
Yeah. So that's a topic for another episode entirely because we can get real deep on that. But for now, blue cards, right?
Let's do it.
Blue cards. All right. So everybody at home, we're about to fire up another episode recording, so you're going to hear our intro all over again.
It's so close to a card that already exists.
But that's okay because you're going to enjoy it. All right. So here we go. All right. What is up, everybody? This is Alex. For the second time in one night, if you're listening to these chronologically, this is the EOT News Flash. This is episode 45. This is our Eldritch Moon set review for Limited. These are the blue cards. If you haven't already, go check out the white review, which is probably already up as well. We've got Steven, Justin, and Shawn in the apartment tonight. We're also streaming this live on Twitch, so go back and watch the Twitch stream. It'd be great. See all of our funny reactions.
Or if you want to pause right now and go to this Twitch stream so that you can go enjoy it
and
all.
Watch both at the same time. Inception.
You're going to see my frustration.
Get the echo.
Yeah.
Quick question though.
You're going to hear the puns twice.
The white review was 45. So are we calling them all 45? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all 45 to me.
Gotcha.
45.
Episode 45.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like
It's
thinking
episode
this
It's
is
45,
Part
45A,
1, Part
45B,
2, Part 3.
That's fair.
That's what they rolled on my computer as, so that's how
Okay.
we're going to do this in real life. So, welcome to episode 45.
Unless you start doing patronage, then you want to be 45, 46, because those people will donate per episode. So we need to start doing patronage. 45, 46, we make that
Okay.
money.
Okay.
We make that money, man.
The
We
Patreon-
are in it for the community, not for ourselves.
I never signed an agreement about
No,
the
he really
community.
didn't.
The community doesn't matter.
The Patreon page is coming, though.
I'm looking out for you
I
guys.
literally have to turn the page
Whatever.
on.
Some kids want to be a fan favorite. Some kids want to retire. That's fine.
All right. So, if you haven't watched now, I can say watched or listened to one of our set reviews before, we are operating on a 4-point scale. 5 technically, if we want to count. So S's are sideboard cards that you bring in against certain cards that need to be answered specifically. You have the 1s, which will always be cut. They are the worst cards in your deck or your sealed pool. Never played them. 2s are the filler spells and filler creatures that kind of, make up the bulk of your deck and fill in the gaps, hence the name filler. 3 are your premium creatures in removal that will always make the cut. And 4 are the bombs that you open in your sealed pool or your first pick in draft that you build your deck around and just go, I'm playing Jace the Mind Sculptor, and I'm going to play blue, or whatever it was. So, fortunately, Jace the Mind Sculptor's not in this set.
He's
We
in
do
the
have-
vintage cube.
Fortunately
He is at
or
the vintage.
unfortunately?
Unfortunately.
And we do have fractionals, so you'll hear like 2.5, which means it's a filler,
Yeah.
but it's close to always being in. 1.5, it's almost never making the deck, but sometimes you open a bad pool or get a bad draft.
Yeah, or in some cases, it fits in with a synergy that you might be able to build to. Like, most of the time we are looking at best case scenario for all of these cards, but even the best case scenario still sucks for some cards. That's just the nature of the beast.
Womp womp.
Yeah, it's what you got to do. So, without further ado, let's get started with our first blue card. We have the Advanced Stitchwing. This is a 3 blue zombie horror for 3/4. It's a 3/4 that flies. You may pay 2 and a blue, discard 2 cards, and return it from their graveyard to your battlefield tapped. Did they not print this card last set?
Yeah, so
It was smaller though.
it's the exact same card. You're paying 1 extra converted mana cost or 1 extra activation to get 3 extra toughness.
Yeah,
Stitchwing Scop was the other one.
Yeah.
The effect is the exact same. It's a 3/1 flyer.
yeah.
It's an advance.
And they're both zombies.
They're both zombies and blah blah blah.
It's kind of flavorful that like
Yeah.
it just evolved the guy. Now it's weird to have 2 cards almost the same.
Yeah, well, we
But
get
this guy blocks.
We get an actual evolution of a previous card in this set, which is pretty cool. So I gave this one. It's a pretty.
The zombies weren't supposed to evolve.
I don't
Nicholas
know.
Magic and
I don't know.
This
Geralt
is
just got
weird.
better.
Oh, okay, this is
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he had to step up his game to survive.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair.
So I gave this one a 3. It's a solid body flyer. It's a little expensive, but it has an ability that you can take advantage of in the late game to fuel madness, to fuel delirium. It's a solid card for sure. Definitely.
You're snap running this flyer.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next one we have Chilling Grasp. This is a 2 and a blue instant. Tap up to 2 target creatures. Those creatures don't untap during their controller's next untap step, and it has madness for 3 and a blue. I know Shawn likes this card.
These cards in Magic's history and Limited haven't been that stellar. You have to be a super aggressive deck to get paid off for it. They have to have a very small board state for it to be worth it.
Shawn doesn't like this card.
It's I always look at this card and I'm like, I want this card to be great, and it's just not good in Limited because boards get so clogged. Tapping 2 guys normally doesn't mean you get to swing through.
Yeah.
And so it's like the Frost Breath style. Like maybe if you have a lot of discard outlets, this gives you a way to discard something for a value without losing a card. Or if you're a control deck, just to stop something big for a little while. But it's these cards really want to go in decks that you're aggressive, and that way you can push through damage, and it just doesn't happen as much.
Yeah, I think better in drafts because you can really build around a tempo deck to take full advantage of keeping your opponent's board locked down.
It's possible. Like, the madness effect gives it something. Like if you want to discard a card and you're like, I don't want to lose value, this now you can just cast this card. But that effect traditionally has not been enough in Limited to be worth it.
Yeah, agreed. So next one we have, this is one of the first cards that actually got spoiled for this set. This is Coax from the Blind Eternities. This is a 2 and a blue sorcery that allows you to choose an Eldrazi card you own from outside the game or in exile. Reveal that card and put it into your hand.
So given the
Steven, what the hell do I do with this?
so given the
Wait
number,
for the prompt.
I'm sorry. All right, are we good now?
Yeah, we're good.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I will begin.
All right, please do.
So I think Coax should make the deck most of the time if you have enough Eldrazi that you're not playing. If that's strange enough.
Okay.
Because you can just leave them in the board and then go pick out the one you need. And that's all it takes.
Now,
So
I don't know if they've clarified this yet, but for limited, or for like the pre-release specifically, and limited play, sealed, and then draft, have they specified that it has to be a card that you actually had in your pool?
Oh, yes.
In your packs that you drafted.
In any competitive play, whenever a card like this comes in, it's your sideboard.
Yes.
Is what's considered
Yeah,
out of the game.
considered your
So
sideboard.
don't think that you can just reach into your binder and pull out original Emrakul and just be like, "Ha ha, gotcha, sucker."
But it's also exile, and that's one thing a lot of people keep looking over. So if they
Yeah.
exile your
Yep.
guy, you get to bring that back from exile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
there
like
are
Steven said,
a lot of exile effects in this.
I didn't even think about it limited. Like Steven said, like being able to fetch somebody out of your sideboard is pretty good.
Yeah.
Just keep in mind, though, if one of your flip Eldrazi creatures gets exiled, whenever it moves the exile zone, it becomes the original
side of it,
creature,
yeah.
so it's not an Eldrazi.
So the
anymore.
werewolves that
Yeah.
flip into Eldrazi horrors stays werewolves in the exile zone. They can't
I
come
guess
back.
I guess from that perspective, it might not be limited playable because you don't have a ton of face-up Eldrazi.
Which is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's definitely
It
constructed
just
the same.
happens like if you happen to have some, it's okay to pull.
Yeah, if you have
Yeah.
something you're just
Yeah.
like not really going.
Yeah.
And there are the emerge guys. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have one of them,
Oh yeah,
but
just
if
go
you're-
pick out an emerge creature that you want.
But if you're not
That
main
seems
decking
fine.
it, because
Yeah.
normally the merge costs are colored as well, so it has to be a color in
Yeah.
your color, which you probably would already be main
Yeah.
decking.
That's the only issue behind it. I probably sideboard or build around this card.
I don't think it's worth building around. I think it's just one of those you have the
You might incrementally.
the
Incidental
natural
value.
advantage.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
Sure.
It's an incremental card. It might now
It's like a weird contingency.
construction play though.
So,
wish card.
Did you say it, Steven? I heard it.
did.
It's a weird contingency play. Like he read my mind, and I just knew it was coming. So, contingency plan is a 1 and a blue sorcery that lets you look at the top 5 cards of your library and put any number of them into your graveyard, and the rest on top of your library in any order. Justin, this card is not bad.
Yeah, this card's not bad.
Not
Not
great.
good. Stacking your deck is always nice. Being
Unless
able
the top
to,
5 cards all suck.
Yeah.
This one has a contingency for that.
Yeah, if you have 5 crappy cards in the top of your deck, you get to throw them away into the graveyard. You can enable Delirium this way. This will not proc Madness.
No, it will not.
So, like, the card's not bad. If you get it, don't feel too bad about getting it, but it's nothing to be excited about.
Yeah.
I guess you have Delirium here compared to other sets, but my thing is like, did we want to run Tigum Scheming and Cons Block? It's the exact same card.
Yeah, it's the exact same
It's
card.
the exact same card as Tigum Scheming, and that
That
normally,
card was trash.
again, if you have
Well,
7 spells,
You would only play it in the dedicated Soul Tide deck.
Yeah.
yeah,
And even then, it was still pretty sketchy.
yeah, it's just rough because if they keep printing this, so they printed Tigum Scheming, now they printed this. Add the caveat of like
Draw 1 card.
instant. Even.
Yeah, instant speed makes this very powerful.
Draw a card makes this insane. Look
Oh,
at the
yeah.
top 5 and draw a card would be nuts. But
Yeah.
Well, I would say it would probably be draw 1, then...
they do the effect. That's probably fine too.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
If it was do the top 5 and then drop, that's scary, right?
just
there.
you lose so much time on it. But Delirium's far more important than when Tigum Scheming was around. Tigum
Yeah.
Scheming, it fills a much more important gap. So if you're a heavily Delirium based deck, or you have a way to like synergize with your graveyard,
Yeah, so I think that probably tips it in a split favor, but we'll
the
see how this one
blue-black
plays
deck,
out.
actually, that's probably relevant. This could effectively be draw 5 zombies if you dump 5 zombies into your graveyard and then bring them back.
With what?
I mean, we'd have to look at the black stuff, but isn't there a lot of recursion for the
there's
black
like
zombie
singleton
deck?
recursions.
Yeah, there's
like,
a there's a single black reanimation spell in this set.
there's like Gisela and Geralt.
I mean, we
Yeah.
have Ever After, which kind of helps, but
Yeah.
that's from Shadows.
It gets pretty narrow, so this
Yeah.
probably isn't a great enabler, but it's not terrible.
Like
either.
you probably run this card and you probably cast it when you're losing the game. You're trying to find an answer, so you probably just want it to be an answer.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll find out. Next one we have is this a reprint? I'm pretty sure Convolute's a reprint, if I had to guess.
The name sounds familiar. I believe it is.
I believe it's
Yeah.
reprint.
So for 2 ability, an instant that allows you to counter target spell unless its owner pays 4.
Bad mana leak.
It's a bad mana leak. Yeah, they can't
One
give us
more
mana
all
leak.
around.
Yeah, they can't give us mana leak ever again in the standard. I don't think. This probably isn't what you want to be doing in limited. You don't want to be holding up mana. You want to be advancing your board state. So I don't think this is one of your 7 spells. This might be the 40th card in your deck if you're really scrapping flip playables. But as it is, it's just pure fill rate too. I think.
Yeah, don't fall into the like spell shrivel was okay in the Eldrazi block, but that's because people were tapping out for such big spells. This is a much lower convert mana cost set, so don't remember spell shrivel like, oh, that card was like fringe playable. Yeah. That this is a very different format.
Yeah. Also keep in mind that spell shrivel exiled and had synergies with other cards you're most likely playing.
Yeah, this is just a counter spell, which isn't very good. All right, next one we have the Curious Homunculus / Voracious Reader. The Curious Homunculus is a 1 and a blue 1/1 homunculus that taps to add a colorless mana, true colorless, to your mana pool. Spend this mana to cast only instant or sorcery spells. And at the end of your upkeep, if there are 3 or more sorceries or instants in your graveyard, you transform it into loading the Voracious Reader, which is pretty bonkers for limited.
Yeah.
It's a 3/4 Eldrazi Homunculus with prowess, and instants and sorceries that you cast cost 1 less to cast. So the card's not terrible.
The card is very dependent on your deck. Again, like we said a couple times, most limited decks are 7-ish spells on average, plus minus 1. Some of those spells are enchantments, so this guy does nothing for your enchantments. So you're not triggering prowess a ton. You have to do some work to get him to flip if there are 3 or more. So that means in a lot of these limited decks, you need half of the spells in your entire deck to be in your graveyard to flip him.
Yeah.
So you're probably not running this guy unless you're in a very heavily spelled deck, and those are rarely successful and limited.
Yeah, especially in sealed. Draft perhaps more effective.
Yeah, he has more like constructed playability with his blue-red prowess deck that got some tools than limited viability because out of your 6 or 7 or 8 spells, a lot of them are enchantments.
It is kind of disappointing that it's not a horror to go ahead and pair along with Thing in the Ice.
Yeah,
but
that is just
when it flips, is it a horror?
Nope. Eldrazi Homunculus.
Yep. Yeah. So
one of the best.
Unfortunately, it just gets displaced.
Wow.
For 2 and a blue, you get an instant that exiles up to 2 target creatures you control. Then return those cards back to the battlefield under your control.
Double blink.
Yay, Popper!
Yeah, Blink is fun. Moving on?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, moving on. All right. Justin gets a sweet one here. This is Docent of Perfection and Final Iteration. This is a 3 blue insect horror. It's a 5/4 with flying. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a 1/1 blue human wizard creature token on the battlefield. Then, if you control 3 or more wizards, transform Docent of Perfection into, drumroll please. That wasn't a drum roll.
That's your drum roll.
That was not a drum roll.
I'm sorry.
Well,
it would have been very loud all around.
Yeah, it would have been very loud. Yeah, more Christmas Vacation. When they're about to plug in the lights. Come on, guys, help me with this one. Final Iteration. It's an Eldrazi insect with flying. Wizards you control get +2/+1 in flying. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you put a blue 1/1 human wizard creature on the battlefield. It makes Delvers.
Yeah, no, this card's pretty sweet. Especially after you flipped it. I mean, it kind of, it's a 4. It's a 4 for limited. I just wish that it had been, because of my love for Delver, I wish it had been something that could make it into Eternal formats.
But this is a limited set review.
Yeah, I know. I'm just, it's a 4 for limited. I've already said it.
Yeah.
It does have a lot of cool flavor to it. He starts kidnapping other wizards and forcing his experiments on them. The token actually is...
The token looks sweet.
Yeah. Like the...
It's the art hybrid from the second evolution of this, right? From Shadows, I believe.
No. The insect token is like this weird wizard dude with like wings, like walking out of the picture. The token.
Well, it looks like the Shadows card. The Shadows of...
Like the art is similar, I think, is what it is.
It's not the exact art. But
I haven't looked at the token recently.
It's sweet looking though.
Yeah,
it's super creepy. It's all like gray and stuff. It's really
even
cool.
if you can't flip this card is still awesome.
5 mana, 5/4 flyer. You don't need any other text.
Yeah, that's all you need.
You probably won't flip this guy, but once your entire sealed event, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
You still like 4-turn clock to your opponent.
Do a lap around the room, high five your friends, say, "Woo! I was final. It was the final. Yeah, it's
the final countdown.
Oh man, where have we gone? Shawn, I'm with you on this one. We have descended into madness.
Do you guys just want to drag me under? Because it's the next card in the set review.
Okay.
On
Right.
fire, boys.
We were talking earlier about making sure we get good time on this. This is where we're going.
We're doing pretty good right now. We can pick up the pace though.
We blew through white. We
That
can
was-
screw around in blue.
No,
Well,
brisk is the idea here. So,
This guy says brisk.
hey,
yeah.
This guy doesn't know the word
you
brisk.
want double time?
I mean, to be fair, we are stalling right now by bringing this whole
Dragmender is a
conversation-
2 blue sorcerer that allows you to return target creature to its owner's hand and draws you a card. Is this card good, Shawn?
Yeah.
Moving on.
Hashtag tempo. For the win.
Hashtag tempo, yeah.
This card's really good.
Enlightened Maniac is a 3 blue 0/2 human. When it enters the battlefield, put a 3/2 colorless Eldrazi horror token onto the battlefield. Steven, is this card good?
It's interesting.
Moving on. No, give us
Are there
some
any more? It depends on like if you can blink it or I don't really know what all you can really do with it to abuse that ability, but cool.
You're paying 4 mana for 2 bodies. You have a chump blocker and a guy that can trap sometimes.
Yep.
Marginal at best.
I think it's okay.
Yeah. Next one we have is the Exultant Cultist. This is a 2 blue 2/2 human wizard. When it dies, draw a card. So, Jeskai Sage was a card.
But didn't it have prowess?
It did have prowess.
Yeah.
This has.
It could have had
It
prowess.
doesn't need prowess.
It's a monk.
It's already.
Oh, it's a wizard.
It's a wizard.
Yeah, never
It
mind.
Goes great with your Docent of Protection.
Yeah, if you got that docent of protection, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
You know what I
But-
love? Is Grizzly Bears. You know what I hate? It's 3 mana Grizzly Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pure filler here. Pure
think it's still
filler.
Filler
Probably play
at
it,
best.
Yeah. Not good, not great. Next one we have is Fogwalker. It's a 1 blue spirit. It is a 1/3 with Skulk, and when it enters battlefield, tap or target creature opponent controls doesn't untap during its untap step, so it doesn't have the tap ability. It's just a hey, I'm gonna need you to stay down for 1 more turn. Is this card any good, Justin?
Yeah, this card is pretty good. I do like the Skulk ability. I'm not gonna give him. He's not quite a 3.
Oh no.
No, I think he's a 2.5.
Not even
No.
he's barely a
Like-
2.
He comes in and he does the tap.
Oh,
Can't
no,
untap.
he doesn't have the tap.
Wait, he doesn't.
He taps.
No,
he
yeah.
locks it down if it's already tapped.
Oh, 2. Never mind.
Yeah,
he's
like-
a 2.
Especially on curve, this thing's really weirdly placed on the
Yeah.
curve.
Yeah.
You have to hold this guy to get any value off of
If
him.
this had been on a deal combat damage trigger, I think it would have been a lot better. It still would have been weird there as
Yeah.
well because of just like how that interaction would have like worked. Because
Yeah.
your opponent's not gonna like swing, but at the same time they're not gonna leave it back because it's much like gonna have higher power.
Yeah.
So I think it could have had a lot more.
Yeah.
Like
If it was
mind gamey interactions.
At a combat ability, it's an uncommon and probably has some different stats and shorter mana cost too. So
I think that would have been fine
Yeah.
if it was all the same. And it was
No,
on
they would have had to
trigger
fix his
uncommon.
body. At a 1/3, nothing
Oh,
trades
so
into
1/2.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fair.
A 1/2, 1/1 because nothing eats him in combat.
Oh
as a
yeah,
skull.
because
because of the
His
Skulk
Skulk,
ability, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just way too good. He probably has Fortune's Favor on his side. Oh man, I'm pulling this one tonight, guys. So this is a 3 blue instant, probably one of the best mind gamey cards in the entire set, probably since like Fact or Fiction.
it's not though.
But it's not. But it's similar in the vein. Target opponent looks at the top 4 cards of your library and separates them into a face down pile and a face up pile. Put one pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. I'm gonna give this one to Shawn because I know he's gonna dissect the card better than I can.
I think this card can be really good.
Yes.
It's really weird. So whenever you play it with it, the way you're going to have to evaluate it is the card in the face-up pile a card that I really want, or can it do some work for my graveyard, and do I want to risk the face-down pile being better?
Yeah.
I'm more excited for people to play this on me, for me to look at the top 4 cards of their deck, then be okay and put all 4 in the face-down pile.
Yeah.
Because you can divide it however you want.
Yes.
So you put all 4 in the face down pile, and either they get these 4 cards and like they're okay, but you would have like now they have like these 4 like worst cards in their hand. Like I want to do it once. It's probably not any good. You're never gonna want to actually do that, but I want to do it once just to see what my opponent does. It not knowing the face down pile really hurts it, but with the information you have face up, you should be able to make good educated decisions.
Yeah.
Yep.
At turn 4, I play this. You put land Grizzly Bear in the face up pile. I take the face down pile, and we hope.
Yeah.
Right? Because at turn 5, I'm not playing a grizzly bear and being excited about it. Unless I need that land, I probably don't need that 5th land. So I just roll the dice on the face down pile.
Yeah.
So you basically just have to like read your opponent. This is like one of the most poker style cards they've printed in a long time.
Yeah.
But
I can't wait till someone has 4 lands in this, and the opponent looks at them, smiles, and goes 3-1. And the one being face down, and they're like, "Ah, got it!"
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yes. Yes.
Or like you said, like just a couple grizzly bears in a land, and the other one's a land. Like, so much potential.
Yeah. This has some real potential to really mess with your opponent's game plan, and I love it for that reason alone.
You had to make educated decisions, and a lot of times you're just going to default to whichever side is the value. If there's a 3 and a 1 pile, you probably take the 3 pile just because it's value.
Yeah.
But in 4 mana, draw 3 is fine. So it's going to lead to some interesting things. It's a weird card that you have to play with to decide whether it's good. It might not be limited playable, just because it's a spell that really doesn't do anything the turn you play it. And around turn 4s, turn 5s is when the game gets decided. Yeah. So it's an awkward spot to be in.
Yeah. I gave it a 2.5 just because of the flexibility of it, and just that could go one way or the other. Very extreme.
I would say it's probably more in the 2-ish range.
Yeah.
You'll probably cut it more than you'll play it.
Sure.
But if you have some stuff you're really looking for, or if Graveyard Synergy is really important, you're a blue deck that wants Delirium. Blue doesn't have a lot of ways to put permanents in the graveyard.
Yeah.
So the Delirium aspect's pretty important.
Yeah, absolutely. So next one we have is Geist of the Archives. This is a 2-blue Defender Spirit, so Steven already loves it. At the end of your upkeep, you scry 1, and it's a 0/4.
So Scryfish was good, but it was 2 mana.
Yeah.
I think this card will probably be fine because it interacts with the Spirit's Matters. I don't think it interacts favorably because it has Defender.
Yeah.
But just being able to block and always have this ability, it's just going to be that little bit of incremental advantage that'll push a late game blue deck over the edge.
Yeah. Completely agree.
And late game blue, they tend to be synonymous.
Yep.
Definitely. So a solid 2.5, somewhere 2.5 maybe?
In the right deck, I'd say it's like a 2.75, just because of how crucial it is in card selection. Like, I know that's
Stick
high.
to the structure. 2,
Yeah.
2.5, 3. Quit
Okay.
breaking
In that
our
regard-
boundaries.
In that regard, 3.
Gosh.
In that regard,
Thank you.
3 for the
Steven.
right deck.
I need you just to grow some gusto and make a decision.
Be grizzled.
2.33.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's 1/3 of a.
The pawns was enough, and now we're breaking our own structure.
It's a 3.14.
What are we if we don't follow our own rules?
We're grizzled.
No.
That was bad.
I've never been so happy for a pun. Let's go.
The grizzled anglers are here. It's a 2 and a blue, 2/3 human. But the top 2, you can tap it to put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then, if there is a colorless creature, transform it into something else. And
It becomes an Eldrazi fish.
Yeah, it turns into an Eldrazi fish, which is pretty neat.
Does the Eldrazi fish do anything?
It does, actually. So it turns into a 4/5. You get the Grizzled Anglerfish. You tap 6 mana, and creatures your opponent control attack this turn if able.
Oh, yeah.
So...
He caught him.
Yeah, he catches everything.
Well, what's funny, though, is, like, he caught something, and if you look at the art for the Grizzled Angler...
Who cares about the art?
Okay,
How about the card? Is it good?
Yes, the card is good. Just 2/3 for 3.
Who?
So rude. So rude.
I mean,
Not bad.
I like the art.
Being able to dump things into your graveyard, especially if we've got some graveyard synergies, pretty good. And then flipping into a 4/5 that can force your opponent to attack in ways that they don't want to, sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, Biden of Thassa from Theros Bulk was a very dangerous card once they activated that ability for them to have to suicide their guys into you, or just, you take the damage and swing back and kill them. The card's cool. Mm-hmm. And it's an Eldrazi fish.
Depends how many colors creatures you have. There's not a ton.
That's the downside, is that this thing probably won't flip all the time, and you probably have to build around it a little bit in that case. But on its own, the stats are fine, I think.
Yeah, 3 up, 2/3.
Yeah, the ability's relevant, I think, as well.
You're probably not using that ability very aggressively, though, because you're not getting any payoff for it. Like some cards, like the blue enchantment that you sacrifice and target player mills 2 or 3, and then you draw a card.
Yeah.
Like you're getting an enchantment in the yard for sure, and you're drawing a card. But this guy's like, I'm just randomly throwing away 3 things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. If you have a fair number of colors creatures, then yeah, he's insane.
Yeah, good, not great. So next one we have is Identity Thief. This is a 2 blue shapeshifter. It's a 0/3. When it attacks, you may exile another target non-token creature, and if you do, it becomes a copy of that creature until the end of turn. Return the exiled card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. I missed that it didn't have to be your opponent's. This is nuts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is probably a 3.5 for me, maybe a 4, depending on what else is in your deck.
4 is like your snap going into it, but 3.5 for sure.
Yeah, 3.5 for sure.
Yeah.
Solid 3.
But you're breaking your metric, Shawn.
3.5.
Yeah.
I'm not breaking metric.
No.
He said at the beginning it's fractional, but according to him, we can only do 0.5.
Yeah, we can only do 0.5.
We need
Alright.
structure here.
All right, so depending what else is in your deck, you might have some pretty sweet targets for this guy to turn into. If that target has a sweet ETB trigger, it's even better. The only downside of this card, if it's your opponents that you're going after, they need to have something big and dumb with no relevant text on it.
Most fat things have no relevant text. And this card gets to flip their flipped cards. This card gets to reset their melded cards.
Yes.
And then this card gets to take out their fattest blocker every combat and become him.
Yeah.
Like, that's really, really good.
Yeah.
Like, you're always using this to be like, blink your 4/5. He is a 4/5. Your 4/5 blocker's gone. Like, that's really, really strong.
This might be a little deep, but Bruna, like exiling your own Bruna to bring back your things repeatedly.
Yeah, any
Sure.
Like,
No, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
well, if
You
you have no
have
relevant...
the other meld one, the one in black that does the same thing.
Yeah. If you have no relevant thing to blink on their side, you just, like, even if you have a guy that says, like, when he enters the battlefield, you get a 1/1 spirit. Well, I'll blink that guy.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yep.
Or you have the 3/2 that returns an aura from your graveyard. Sometimes you blink him and get another aura back. Like,
Yeah.
You'll
There's
most
just-
likely lose your thief, but
yeah, like
that'll be okay.
that's fine.
Yeah.
The card's insane. You always just blink that fat thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So next one we have is Imprisoned in the Moon, 2 and a blue. This is an enchantment aura that enchants a creature, a land, or a planeswalker, and that permanent is now a colorless land with tap and add true colorless mana to your mana pool and loses all the card types and abilities. I didn't think blue needed Song of the Dryad.
This card is really good. Like,
Yeah.
Stupid.
Spreading Seas is awesome because you get a draw card. This is awesome because you get to take out a threat, so it's like you drew a removal spell.
Yeah.
Like, if you eat their creature, their planeswalker, you ramp them a land. That's fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like only have one of a color source, and you just get to turn that into a colorless source. And that's fine. Like, if you know that like they like have a splash, you just eat the splash if their bomb is the splash. Because a lot of decks who are people who are building, they're like, I have this bomb, I'm going to splash this bomb with 2 mana sources. And if you eat one of those 2 mana sources, they're never going to play that bomb.
Yeah.
And so sometimes this is just a preemptive way of removing a bomb.
Yeah, and then against non-blue decks and non-green decks, or they're probably not even main decking their enchantment hate. This is practically just Vindicate.
This card's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's phenomenal. Blue normally doesn't get this kind of removal, this kind of unconditional removal. It gets these like frost cards that tap 2 creatures that they don't untap for turn.
Yeah.
This is, and flavor-wise, it's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
They trap Emrakul in the moon. We'll find out how that actually works.
Give me a
next
seal
week.
pull with just like 6 of these and a bunch of commons on commons, and I'm in.
Yeah, and
All right, moving
we were
on.
talking about how blue needed a shot in the arm. I mean, I feel like not for modern, but for standard control, this is that shot in the arm. I think that it needed.
Yeah, I can see that.
There will be many Thalias imprisoned.
Yeah.
Many Thalias will get
The
imprisoned.
moon is plenty big to host
Yeah.
all the Thalia.
Thalia hurts a lot of blue decks. A lot of blue decks from like, you got out of the hell, you dealt with this hell vault. This is a whole new hell vault. You're going inside. Get out of here. Like,
It's even bigger.
yeah, it's,
Quite ingenious,
On the inside.
actually. On the inside, it's much bigger on the inside.
it's
I
gonna
think
we're
the-
gonna alter that moon to a TARDIS.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's quite ingenious. Kind of like the
But
scab.
is a scab really ingenious?
I don't know. I guess if you make it smart, it's smart.
It has prowess though. I guess that's like
Yeah.
where the ingenious comes from.
Definitely so. So this is a 2 and a blue zombie horror. It's a 2/3 prowess. So when you cast an instant sorcery or a non-creature spell, it gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. And you may pay 1, and it gets +1/-1 until the end of turn. Sweet.
This card's really cool with prowess
Yes, it
because
is.
you get to pump more.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Anytime you can pump more, you're doing things right.
Frostpath Weird wasn't terrible. He was mostly good because of the devotion, but being able to get in front of some grizzly bears is fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Card's not bad.
And trade up if needed.
Yep.
Yeah, you can make this guy, what, a 4/1?
Yeah.
Or a 5-1 if you get. No, you can make it 6-1 with prowess.
Yeah.
That's
This
cool.
thing can get pretty big. So pretty cool. Yeah.
Man, 6-1. All you gotta do is play a spell, maybe 3, or 4, whatever. This is cool.
Yep.
It becomes
That's
quite
fine.
the brute.
It's 3. It's 3.
Is what it does.
Yeah.
So 3 and a blue.
Did you come up with that in the laboratory?
I did. In my laboratory.
Shawn's over here being the lunar force that we all need.
In the name of the moon, Shawn will punish you. 3 and a blue, 3/3. Zombie horror. When it enters the battlefield, put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. This card's pretty good, right, Justin? Decent, not great.
Yeah, it's decent.
Yeah. Lunar Force. I read this one card.
It's
It's
Laboratory
on the
Brute
screen,
is in
too.
fact a card. That's all I have to say about it.
Yep. Brute's not bad.
It's printed on cardboard.
It is actually a card. It exists.
Yeah.
He's a zombie.
It is a zombie as well. All right, moving on. We've got Lunar Force. Probably one of the weirdest cards I've ever seen in Magic.
Delirium Enabler.
Yes, it's that. So for 2 and a blue, you get an enchantment that when an opponent casts a spell, you sacrifice Lunar Force and counter that spell. So this card's good. It's not great because it's the onboard trick thing again. You put this down, and your opponent goes, "Okay, Grizzly Bear. Oh crap, it's gone." Not 5-drop bomb. Like if this was you could choose when they sacrifice it, then it gets much better. But as it stands, I don't think it's very good.
It's interesting if you think they have combat tricks because you can main phase 1 it, swing, and then like you can't get me.
That's true. Yeah. So you can play tricky with it, but even still, I don't think it's very good.
It's one of those things though. It depends on when. Like if they're in top deck mode, it becomes much better. Or like you said, like right before combat, it becomes much better. It depends on when you play this and what your opponent's hand looks like.
Yeah.
But so that justification is the same reason counterspells are typically bad unlimited, is because whenever you run this card, if you show it to your friend and they say, "Why are you running this card?" you have to explain like in these situations it does this, as opposed to just whenever I need it to, it does this.
Yeah.
So like you play it, they play around it. Like when I look at the card in my head, I'm like, the times I want to play this are late in the game when they don't have many cards in hand or they're in top deck mode. And so that means now I might already be dead on board. Like it's just it runs in the same problem as most counter magic does.
Yeah,
but it's even worse at that. Because
and if this is your top deck when you're hellbent, this is the worst thing in the world.
Absolutely.
Probably.
And it shows. It's like not only is it playing in certain positions, it's showing those positions. Like it's showing what you're doing.
Yeah. And in blue, you never want to show your opponent that you have a plan of any kind.
No.
So good, not great, probably not worth playing it at all. Actually. No. All right, next one we have the Mausoleum Wanderer. This is a 1 blue, 1/1 spirit with flying. Whenever another spirit enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. You can sacrifice it and counter an instant or sorcery spell unless its opponent, its controller, God, this has a wall of text, pays X, where X is its power.
Is that any spell?
Instant or sorcery.
Okay,
It's far more narrow.
Yay, rattle chain synergy.
Any card with that much text, you always have to be careful of. In limited, this card is fine. It's a 1-drop, 1/1 flyer, so it has evasion. It's going to hit for 2 or 3 in a lot of decks.
It's also worth noting that half of the spirits that we have to play with have flash.
Yeah,
A good number of them,
Yeah, it's going to be hard to really counter a lot of stuff because so many decks, like we said, don't run very many spells. So in limited, it's a 2, 2.5. Like you're not going into it for this card, but if you're in this deck, you'll run this card.
Yeah.
So like 3 and above, you're like, I might go blue for this card. 2, 2.5 is if I'm in blue, I'll probably run this. So you'll probably run this if you're in blue, just because it's a decent evasive card. If you have no other spirits, then you're not, because it's 1 a turn. 1-drop, 1/1s aren't really traditionally that stellar.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if this was like in my opening pack, I think I would be trying to build spirits. Like if this was my pack 1 rare.
I don't think so.
If there was an incendiary flow, I'd be. I think it's just typically better to take.
Because
I take virtually any removal spell, any evasive guy with a bigger body, or any fat guy.
Yeah, because the problem with this is that you're expecting your opponent to play instants and sorceries, which most decks typically aren't. There are some very specific corner cases where that's not the case.
Yeah, like Storm.
Well, I was thinking about it for the first half of the text.
Well, that's fine because it's a 1-mana 2/2. if you're playing a spirit every single turn. And that's the caveat.
You have to do work to make him a threat.
And like you also have to consider the spirits that have flash. It's typically just better to wait and cast them at the end of your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
Because it's surprise factor. So you're not going to be enticed to play your spirits on your turn because of that reason. So it's not going to get bigger. Just going to peck them.
If you have like the spirit token cards, then maybe.
Yes.
But the problem is like so the whole time we've discussed the card, it's always if I have this card and if I have that card, which means you don't want to like take him right away because then it's I need to have the 4 mana create 2/1/1 spirit tokens and stuff like that. So it gets a little awkward. If you are in that color, you'll run him, especially if you have some extra spirits. But
this is like 4th, 5th pick in any given deck.
Like this is at best, this is a force spike for your opponent's instants and sorceries. I don't think it'll get any better than a spell pierce off of this guy.
And that's the thing is, it doesn't run. You don't run very many instants and sorceries, and in these two sets, a lot of those spells people are running are enchantments.
Yeah,
for delirium purposes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am behind on our little scrolling, so sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so there's Muzzling Wanderer. So the next card we have, this is one of those cards where you just kind of like go, where are my commander players? Can I just give this away to them? Because you don't need this. Although it might be sweet. It might be sweet and limited.
This is a
If you can get up to this in limited, you're gonna deck your opponent easily.
That's also very true. But for any other implications, this is just purely commander chaff. Mind's Dilation.
It's not chaff. It's commander goodies.
Okay, chaff. Mind's Dilation, 5 colorless, 2 blue, enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts his or her first spell each turn, that player exiles the top card of his or her library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Any cheaper, and this gets dangerous.
I think it's already dangerous.
Oh, it's very dangerous.
I don't think it's
itself.
only commander. There's going to be people who try to... It's not going to be a tier 1 deck. People are going to try to run this in other formats.
I mean, there's the blue-red deck in Standard right now, the blue-red control deck, that can ramp into this very quickly and just be like, all right, what do you got? So,
I don't play win conditions. I play your win conditions.
But are you playing?
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like Jace Architect of Thought. That's all that deck needed.
So, Steven, is this card limited?
I think it will be fine if you think you can stay alive.
Sure.
But again, it's one of those like medium, or it's like high risk, medium reward.
Yeah.
Because you could just whiff every time. And if you're in 7 mana territory, you're probably just both in top deck mode anyway.
Yeah.
So
now, if you
it's not a miracle.
If you exile a land with this, do you get to play the land?
No, it's not a spell.
If it's a non-land card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I gave this thing a 3 just because of how dangerous this can be. Mm-hmm. But again, all these cards are trying to give them best case scenario. So in that regard, I gave it what I did. But
you're probably building around it.
Yeah, you're building around this card big time, trying to ramp as fast as you can.
Are there any rocks that are like decent?
There's the one Graphstone that actually hurts you.
Okay, and then we also have the werewolf that does it too.
Yeah, so this might be better than we're giving it credit for.
We shall find out.
It certainly won't herald the end for anybody right now, though. 2 and a blue, Nibblegast Herald. 2/1 spirit with flash, flying. When it or another spirit enters the battlefield under your control, tap target opponent creature an opponent controls. Me gusta? Yeah, me gusta.
Yeah. I was like waiting for you to assign that to somebody.
That's for you. So you talk about Mind Dilation.
You're right. I mean,
the plug. I wasn't allowed to go before the plug. He was waiting on the plug. You didn't give it.
That's fair.
You always give the plug. Anyways,
Justin, how do you like this card?
I like this card. I mean, it's 3 mana, 2/1 flyer with flash, and then you just cast it right before they attack, and you tap their biggest thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Card sweet. Pretty solid. Next card we have is a pretty bonkers spirit. This is the Nibelus of Frost. Why does it have to be Frost, I wonder? I don't know. Anyway, 2 blue spirit, flying, 3/3 with prowess. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. Next untap step. This card is very scary.
Yeah.
If you're able to play this and you have an abundance of spell instants and sorceries in your deck, which you probably have to build on this card to make it really powerful, but you get this thing down, you start firing off anything. You're jamming for a lot of damage, and your opponent is very hard pressed to fight back, I think.
I mean,
if you have a bounce spell, that just breaks open the board.
Four mana 3/3 flyer with upside is insane.
Already
you
playable.
You don't even have to build around that guy. You just bash people for 3 and then occasionally you blow them out.
Yeah, it's an advantage.
Cool.
Yeah, very, very cool card. Alright, next one we have... Scroll. I think Shawn's a fan of this card, if I remember him saying
I'm
so.
a big fan of this card.
Scour the Laboratory. It's a 4 blue instant with Delirium. Scour the Library costs 2 less if there are 4 more types of cards in your graveyard. Draw 3 cards.
This card's good. You're not gonna go to blue for the card.
No.
But if you're in blue, you're gonna run one of it. You're not gonna run more than one.
Yep.
But drawing 3 cards at instant speed for 6 is okay in some decks. Not if you're really aggressive like blue white trying to kill them quick deck.
Mm-hmm.
But most decks are mid range decks in limited. So you'll run this card, and then if you can ever turn on Delirium with any reasonable time frame, 4 mana, instant speed, 3 cards is amazing.
Yeah.
So this card you'll run one of. Don't run 2. The first one's phenomenal. The second one means you're daredealing too much.
Yeah.
But it's really good.
I forget which core set it was, but it was Opportunity. M13 or M14. As slow as that format was, like first picking Opportunity was a very real thing. That was 4 cards.
Yeah.
And this being discounted in any way, this
format's a little bit faster, but it's still a really good card.
Yeah, this card, very, very good, very good. All right, Spontaneous Mutation is next. This is a 1 blue enchantment aura with flash. That's important. Enchant creature, and it gets -X/-0, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. Steven.
This is a really cool removal spell in a way. And I don't really think there's much else to say.
Nope.
It's very narrow, but neat.
Yep.
It's very efficient. 1 mana.
Yeah.
If they made this 2 or 3, it'd be totally different story.
Oh, yeah, at that point, it just becomes...
I think it'd still be great at 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
All right, moving on to Summary Dismissal.
You just throw it on there real cool.
Like, what's up?
Like, cool story, bro.
Take 0. Take 0.
Oh, wait, it has protection from instants, though. Oh,
This is
that's
enchantment.
a flash enchantment.
Yeah.
Dude,
So it's like stasis.
Don't
snare.
worry, I thought it out. We're
Okay,
good.
all right,
We're
all right.
safe.
I just want to put you to the test. You passed. Good job. All right, Summary Dismissal. 2 and 2 blue instant. Exile all their spells and counter all abilities.
This spell is so goofy.
Yeah. If you guys have seen Flusterstorm, this is the worst version of that.
Yeah. I mean, this is not something that you're looking to play. It's a 2.25 maybe.
That's what I gave it, actually.
Oh, okay.
2.25.
So, I mean, exiling spells isn't a bad thing. I don't think there's anything that can't be countered in this set,
Nope.
so it's not super relevant there. But it does counter abilities, so if there's an ability that's going to blow you out, you can use it for that, I guess. But we're not screaming yay about this.
Yeah, the only thing I see this being good for is if they have a card that wants to get in the graveyard for whatever reason, and you can exile it that way. That's really your only...
Yeah.
I don't think you're virtually ever running this.
However,
Yeah.
I don't
You don't
want
want to run 3 drops, so why would you run a 4 drop?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Rarely
So
is
we
there
can just
really is
counter
there-
their meld, and then they have to wait till next turn
Turn
for
to
it to
meld, yeah.
trigger again.
Rarely
Yeah.
is there like multiple spells on the stack and limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is like an older format card. This is a commander card again, plain and
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah, because even in modern, you should run Mindgrave Trap.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so next one we have is Take Inventory. This is a 1 and a blue sorcery. Draw a card, then draw cards equal to the number of cards named Take Inventory in your graveyard. So this is not... Oh, what was the original one called? It was Instant speed, though.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but there was a card like this that did this at instant speed, and it counted all graveyards,
Yeah, it kinda
which made things very, very dangerous. As it stands, this is a 2 by itself. If you have any more, I have to question what you're doing with your deck.
Well, no, you could be playing the Spells Matter deck, because if you're playing this alongside that Nebulous of Frost or the other
Yeah.
Homunculus
Right.
guy, or anything with prowess, like this is decent.
There is
There
a
are
good
prowess.
blue-red spells.
Yeah.
deck in this
Yeah.
format.
But at sorcery speed, that's where things get a little wonky for me.
Yeah.
Like, you have to kind of dilute your deck with copies of this when there might be better spells to get to. And if you can't play those spells on the same turn that you're casting this, things get a little
I mean, if
clogged
we're in a
up.
Spells Matter deck, though, you need to be drawing cards, and this is probably one of the better draw engines.
But I don't think it is. Like, the Scout of the Laboratory, the one we just talked about, is just better.
No, they're totally different.
Well, they are different,
so,
yeah.
In this card, like, if you have 3 or 4 and you have a way to dig through your deck, then it's really good because the second copy is a 2-drop divination. The third copy is ham. Like, it's just nuts.
Yep.
I don't. It's a common, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, like there's some decks that will want it. That's the beauty of it. If you're in the blue-red prowess deck, you can get as many of these in a draft as you want because nobody's gonna touch them.
That's
so
also
you're
true.
gonna have like 4, 5, 6 of these possibly in your deck, and that's probably something that you're fine with. And in constructed, that has some playabilities. Like it's even at sorcery speed, it's probably fine. It just depends on how many copies you run. If you run less, if you have 1, 2, maybe 3, and you don't have a very good dig, it's not great. But if you have a way to like fill your yard, or you have 4+, then we start to have really crazy.
Yeah. If you have any of the Reminder guys or the Looter guys, this probably gets a lot better. So I'll have to wait to see how it goes. I mean, I'm not impressed right now as it is.
I would say it probably falls into the build around.
With the red-blue deck, like Scout Laboratory is amazing in control, but red-blue is, I don't want to say tempo, but tempo-y, where we're trying to cast more than 1 spell a turn. So paying more than 2 mana for draw spell, shaky.
Right. That's why I say I'm reserving my judgment on this one. I gave this a 2+ just because I don't know where the ceiling on this card is.
I think it starts out as a 2.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is like I don't know how high this card can go. I need to see this in a deck and actually see it do something stupid and then go, okay, this is actually like a 3 or whatever.
You either want 5 copies or you want 0 copies.
Yeah, that's
there you go.
Right.
That's what I'm gonna say here. All right, next one we have the Tattered Hunter. We have a 1 in a blue creature spirit with flying, and it can only block creatures with flying. It's a 2/1.
These flying decks are pretty sweet. I mean, that's fine. Anything you block, you would die to anyways, and you're putting down a clock. So
card is
you'll run it in a blue deck.
Solid at best. Good forward though. Next one we have is another reprint. This is from Scarsblock, if I'm not mistaken. This is turn aside 1 blue instant counter target spell that targets a permanent you control. Steven. This card's not very good.
It does a thing.
It does a thing. I tap mana and I have an effect on the stack. Whee! Moving on to Unsubstantiates. This is a 1 in a blue instant that returns a target spell or creature to its owner's hand. Justin, this doesn't say permanent.
Yeah, no. When this card was first spoiled, he's making a little joke about me misreading it.
Oh, it's not a little joke. You misread this big time.
I did.
There was much hype to be had.
I thought this was Vincer without a body.
Yeah.
And I was about ready to jam this and everything. Until someone pointed out that it says return target spell or creature, not spell or permanent.
Right. So as a card by itself, though.
As a card by itself, 2.5. And that's really all there is to say about it. It bounces things. It can buy you a little bit of time by putting the spell back into their hand.
If you're the tempo deck, it's a time walk.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
They pay 4 for something, you bounce it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Super good. Super good. All right. Last card in blue, we have the Wharf Infiltrator. Probably not my favorite blue card, but it's up there. 1 in a blue human horror has Skulk. It's a 1/1. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. So this is our looter for the Take Inventory deck. Whenever you discard a creature card, you may pay 2, and if you do, you put a 3/2 colorless Eldrazi horror creature token onto the battlefield. So this is kind of like Army in the Can. You start ditching your advanced scabs. The other cards allow you to return from the graveyard by discarding more cards. Madness. I think this thing
Take Inventory.
Take Inventory. This, I think, in the right deck, probably not as good as in Sealed, but in draft, if this is your first pick and you draft around this guy, you're going to churn through your deck so fast that I don't think you're going to have a hard time winning.
Well, I mean, they're never blocking this thing, so you just pay 2 mana and make it 3/2 every turn. Even if it just said that, I think it would still be a 3.
Yeah, I think there's a turn where you start making the creatures, but I think in the early turns you're just draw, discard, just filtering your hand and getting to the point where like, okay, now can you do this multiple times?
No, it's when you.
It is a one discard, so you can't do like multiple times. Okay, that's true.
I think they will block it more often than not because there's a lot of 1 power guys in the set. 1/1 spirits, 1/2s that do effects. Things like that.
That's true.
There's a fair number, especially between the 2 sets. However, anytime you discard a card, I think you prioritize making a 3/2 over doing anything else.
That's fair.
If you turn your junk spell into a 3/2, then that's better than paying a 4/4.
Yeah, the extra land that you just drew on turn 3 or whatever it is.
Yeah, you just get these 3/2s, make them beat the 3/2s,
But
then
don't they have
play
to be
other
creatures
things.
that you dump?
Yeah, it has to be a creature.
This has to be a creature.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
so you pitch something like a creature that's irrelevant later in the game.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
like this guy a lot.
But
Pitch your grizzly bear.
But if not, then you just pitch something else and keep drawing. Like I think it's pretty
Yeah,
good.
drawing and discarding is still a very powerful effect.
Not being able to do it whenever you want is a little bit awkward.
Yeah, but I think with this much text, again, you have to look at a card like this very, very carefully. So yeah, that is the end of the blue cards. Blue's pretty sweet in this set, I think, so far. Any final thoughts on blue before we move on to black and close out the night?
No.
Cool.
I think that this set gave blue the little bump it needed to be the relevant control deck again. Because it's been black-white for a while now.
And it's going to stay black-white because we're going to find out why in the next episode.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, so spoilers. So yeah, thanks everybody in the Twitch chat again for hanging around with us. We've got one more set of colors to do before the night's over. If you're listening to this over on MTG Cast, thanks for listening tonight. Check out all the other reviews for the set so far over on MTG Cast, or go back and watch the Twitch streams. You can also find them on YouTube. You can check us out on Twitter at EOT Newsflash. Check us out on Facebook. Just look for EOT Newsflash and send us your love, hate, and respect to eotnewsflash@gmail.com. Twitch.tv/EOT Newsflash. Man, it seems to be a soundbite. Busted Sleeves, Spell Pierce, Jay Faulkner. Woo! That was a neat effect. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll be right back on the Twitch stream with the black cards, and we'll talk to you guys then. And out. All right. Woo!
Bathroom.
Bathroom, yes.
Shout out to James for that 425 Eevee ready to evolve.
That's probably going to go over 700.
At least, yeah, because my EV jumped to 5 just about only with Flareon.
Time for Pokemon Go break, guys.
Right?
Because my phone, during blue, I went from 2% to 62%.
Ah, well. Now's the perfect time to waste more battery if I need more Pokemon.
Exactly.
Correct.
I'm also going to take a pit stop.
That's fair. That's fair. We can take a quick break here.
I think we're all going to take a quick pit stop. Also, seltzer. No, you've got the black cherry, not the strawberry ones. Never mind.
More for me to drink. Does it say black? D-L-I-C-K?
Is that why you didn't get the strawberries?
No,
because we devoured them?
It's what they had at the grocery store today.
Oh, okay.
Pro tip: grocery store is not full of Pokemon like I thought they would be. Kind of disappointing.
You can check out the Pokestops.
There weren't any.
I know, but
you
you
gotta
can
go to
see where they're at. Also, there's like this interactive map that people are trying to put on Google that has all the Pokestops and gyms.
Oh, that's handy.
Like,
so it's like a community
it'll
project.
probably be completed in a month.
Yeah.
But it'll be pretty cool.
We need to get some people on Ingress to tag every comic book store in the area.
Well, they took out portal submissions not too long ago. Whenever Pokemon
that's
Go was a thing. So I think the only way to do the portal submissions now are through...
So who all is in the chat right now, Steven? Do you know? Like,
not sure.
How many do we have right now?
Probably
How many viewers do we
Nathan
have?
and Mary and myself.
So, yeah. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight, watching us dribble through Magic cards.
Mm-hmm.
Good time.
It's very exciting.
It is quite exciting, I have to admit.
There we go.
PokeWatch 2017 go, and there ain't anything around.
2017?
Well, it's like cars. You always, when you buy a new car, it's always the next year.
So is this how you're going to justify your mistake?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. I just wanted to double check.
That is exactly right.
Rushing through the end of 2016. Like, who knows? Maybe the Mayans were off by 4 years.
Oh,
yeah.
I need one more Eevee and I can evolve them.
Or
there you go.
You've got like the Eternal Master set. Technically, it's Water Masters 2017 that we'll get. If we'd gotten it this year, it'd be 2017. Oh wait, no, it's not. They do those on the right year. It's the core sets, isn't it? Damn it.
GG.
Yeah, GG. I can see.
This is entertaining.
Scoop.
Got him.
It's like like buying cars.
This is acceptable.
You always get the next year up. And I'm going to get some more water.
It's okay. I've said plenty of incorrect things on the podcast, and whenever I go back and listen, I'm just like, wait, no. Why did I? No.
You fool!
Pretty much.
Hey guys,
Is there any
my
reason
head
to
is
keep
a
these
magic
10
card,
CP
right?
things?
You needed to scoot over. Well, is there like a good headshot other than with the
Is there
fire?
any reason to keep these at all?
No, they're just candy.
Okay.
Yeah, you just catch them all in for candies of the appropriate type.
I don't watch the stream in the restroom.
That's awkward.
Have fun.
He's gonna have a stream while watching the stream.
Don't cross your streams.
References. Man, there's nothing good outside right now.
What's out?
I've got Venonets, Pidgeys, Paris, Bellsprout. Everything's like too far away as well. I'm gonna catch this Venonat because
Now,
I can.
if we all activate lures, does that... Sorry, not lures. Incense. With 4 people in the same area activating incense, is that going to help draw Pokemon to the area?
Instance is only you.
Yeah. I don't know if they stack.
Well, I know the incense is targeted on you, but... Oh, something popped up in...
It doesn't help anybody else around you, so it's
Gotcha.
just really random.
Okay, because I'm just used to like being able to see anything that, like, say Alex is seeing.
No, because I've been with people who have instances out, and they see stuff that I don't see.
Oh, okay.
You don't get what they get.
Come on, Paris.
That's lame.
Yeah, that's what the lure is supposed to be.
It's not selecting it.
Of course, it freezes right as I catch it.
God, I hate it when they freeze right as I catch something.
I've had pretty good experience with that happening though. Like when it does freeze, I'm typically still catching the Pokemon.
I have like almost every time now.
Really?
Almost
Yeah.
every time if you go to my history, it says it escaped.
It doesn't even register it for me.
So now it's not really accepting my input anymore. But it's not frozen. I just can't pick the Pidgey. Come on. So
Pokemon Go, people. If you are listening to this podcast, which I know you're not, fix your game.
Oh, I was about to say, people playing the game probably are listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Pokemon fans or Magic fans, I would imagine. There is some crossover.
I was trying to talk to the developers that I know are not on this
No, they are not listening.
tier.
Come on, Oddish.
Let's see here. Look at my journal. Let's see if we caught it.
Pidgey.
Oh, hey.
Pidgey.
They got caught this time.
I wish they had taken the sound bites from the TV show for the sound effects. Oh, pick it up. Come on. Ah, jeez.
There's an
Oh, I got
Oddish 1 foot away.
That's what I'm trying to get because I want to evolve into a Gloom.
Where? Oh, you see it?
No, it just isn't showing it, but it's close as far as I can tell.
Or we'd have to go walking.
Yeah, probably. I've already walked once today.
I'm down for walking
And
again.
someone wants to go to UT. Well, UT wouldn't be a bad idea this summer night.
Yeah. Like,
not
dude,
in
have
summer.
you seen the UTA campus?
It's probably loaded.
Dude,
Deep Ellum was insane.
There's
Deep Ellum was fantastic for
there's
this.
3
Yeah.
Poke Centers that overlap each other, and when I was driving by, all 3 had a lure on them.
Nice. There's this park right down the street. The time it takes you to make a loop around the park, it's like a quarter-mile park. And that's 5 Pokestops, and the time it takes you to walk a circle is the amount of time it takes for the Pokestops to reset. So
Where
you
is that
just
park?
go infinite. Collins and
There are 5
Brown.
stops, you said?
there's 5 Pokestops. It's like a quarter-mile park.
Jeez.
Collins and Brown?
I think so.
Is that north of here or south of
It's
here?
just south of here.
Okay.
But like the time it takes you to make it one loop around their trail, the first stop will be blue again. So you just
Nice.
walk this infinite circle. And it's got a gym right there.
Almost done, guys. We'll get back to it. Guys and gals. Sorry.
Sexist.
What? No.
Because you
No.
almost forgot girls.
I
For shame.
got it once. You guys are the ones. And I want to, like, say something, but
Say what about what?
whenever it's like, hey, guys, it's like, and gals. Mary was watching for a while.
For what?
Oh, did I say guys? I apologize. I've tried to get really good about not saying
You
guys
gotta
and
say
gals.
y'all, all
Everyone.
people's fellow viewers.
All of God's children. That's how that should be pronounced. So, I think we're all ready to start with the next section. Yeah.
Hang on, I gotta catch this Weedle. It's okay, go ahead and start.
I was like, well, if I read off the tablet as well, my phone's getting kind of low.
Oh goodness.
We'll just pass it around the table. Yeah.
Keep knocking it down.
That's what we've been doing, yo.
Uh-oh.
See?
Did you just
No! I tapped the tab on accident.
Nah, you went back to my work.
You went back to where it all began?
Yeah, something like that.
Alright, we're on black.
Yep, we are on black. And I have saved that one.
How many colors are
There are, technically, I counted 6, technically.
there? 6 what?
Colors.
No, colorless.
Oh, there's a bunch, actually. I was pleasantly surprised.
Oh, people are talking about this deck again.
Weird.
Dun, 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 dun.
I tried to catch the Pokeball after I missed, but instead it just activated to try and catch the Pokemon.
Hey!
So I guess I didn't miss, but it looked like I missed.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. All right. So everybody who's still watching, thanks for sticking around with us, guys. We're about to fire up the next episode recording here for the black card. So, ready to go.
Did it at the same time.
We did.
Okay, now we have to, now
right.
I have to start over.
I can edit over anything.
Oh.
So what is up, guys? This is Alex once again with the EOT News Flash. This is episode 45, part 3, our Eldritch set Moon set review for Limited. These are the black cards. If you haven't already, go check out the white cards and the blue cards. You can find those over on MTG Cast. Also, if you're watching this on the part 1 of the stream, we've done all 3 colors in one night. It's been kind of long, but that's okay. Streams are long. You're in it for the long haul anyway. If you haven't listened or watched to one of our reviews before, we do the 4-point scale, technically 5. So we have a sideboard section where cards that belong to the sideboard will always be in case you need to bring them in for something else. 1s are the cards you will never play. 2s are your filler cards, filler spells that kind of make up the body of your deck. 3 are premium cards, spells, creatures, and removal that make your deck all the time. And 4 are the bombs that you open. You open up Liliana. You're like, I'm going to play Liliana because she's awesome and she's black, so I'm going to play black cards. So we're going to jump right into black spells, or black cards, with Boon of Emrakul. This is a 2 and a black enchantment aura that enchants a creature and gives it +3/-3. I think this is a perfectly serviceable spell on both ends. You can either kill a guy or pump your guy, and hopefully your guy won't die.
Yeah, you almost always kill a guy with it. But
Yeah, this is up there with debilitating injury from Khan's Block.
yeah, it's 3 mana sorcery speed kill a guy that it helps enable.
Yep,
Delirium.
not bad at all.
Yep, Delirium's important.
Not bad at all. Next one we have is Borrowed Malevolence, Escalate 2. This is an instant black sorcery. You may choose one or both.
Instant.
Yeah,
it's a black instant. Not
Black instant, I'm sorry. With Escalate.
instant sorcery.
Yeah. Half the time it has flash.
Flip a coin. You might not be allowed to cast this. Put it back in your hand. You broke a rule.
Welcome to Hearthstone.
Yep.
Alright, so for 1 black instant, you can escalate 2 by paying 2 extra mana to choose another mode. You can choose one or both. Target creature gets +1/+1 until the end of turn, or target creature gets -1/-1 until the end of turn. So this is gotta be just 3 mana at all times, right?
It's 0 mana because you're probably not playing much of it.
That's
not
also
a lot.
fair.
There's not a lot of 1 toughness guys. You'll board it in for certain matchups to make a lot of 1/1s, like have tokens and things like that. But there's not enough 1 toughness guys to be worth bringing this in, and pumping your guy 1 isn't typically enough to be worth it.
Yeah.
So for your very small selection of spells, I don't see this being enough to make it where you don't watch another extra creature.
Well,
If
if
they
you're
gave +1
attacking into a 3/3 with a 2/2, and you cast this for 3, you turn their
Are they
3/3
blocking
into a
that?
2/2.
Like if
No,
you
here's the thing. So you're going to set up a big caveat that they have to do something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You have to swing and trust your opponent is dumb enough not to say, "Why is my opponent doing this?"
yeah.
And not read a trick happening.
Yeah.
So you're like running this card on your opponent being dumb and blocking, and on that small situation actually happening.
Yeah.
Classic bluff. Sometimes your opponent will read it and just go, whatever, I'll take the point of damage, or they will force you to have it and you walk into their own removal spell.
If they really want to kill that creature and you're swinging, they just stack like 3 things in front,
Yeah.
and they
And-
still kill that creature.
If this gave +1/+1 and regenerate, I think it'd be okay.
Ooh.
That'd be really, really good.
Then it's very
Because
powerful.
now you can like kill a small token and regenerate, or just regenerate if worse comes to
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, the +1/+1's normally not enough to survive anything relevant. -1/-1's not enough to kill anything relevant. So you're running this really narrow card that you're probably just better off running another Grizzly Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If the tokens do prove to be very relevant, I could see this being a little bit better in combat. If they swing all out, you can like, all right, I'll shoot that guy down, I'll pump my guy and trade off maybe. It's still not very good, though.
You're probably boarded in against a lot of decks. Like that doesn't mean you're never going to sleeve this card in a competitive format, a
Yeah.
limited format. But it's something that you're not going to have in your main 40. You're going to board it in
Yeah.
against a deck that seems like it has weaknesses to it.
Yeah. So next card we've got is Cemetery Recruitment. This is a 1 and a black sorcery. You may return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. If it's a zombie, you get to draw a card. So this is Corpse Dance, but better and cheaper.
Yeah.
Enough said.
If you have zombies, it's a 2-drop divination.
Yeah.
Which is sweet.
Enough said.
And you got to choose what the second card was.
Yep.
Yeah. Enough said, true believers. And next one we have is Certain Death. That is the best name for a Magic card.
If only I'd ever seen
I
much
like
play.
how they have Slenderman in the background over there.
Yeah. That's the last thing I do in my life is Slenderman and Magic. God. 5 and a sorcery. 5 and a black
No,
sorcery.
you don't want Slenderman in your
No,
Pokemon
I don't.
Go.
It's the last
in your
thing.
Pokemon Go. Oh. That's what you really don't want.
Good thing I don't have the AR turned on ever. Alright. Destroy target creature. Its controller loses 2 life and you gain 2 life.
It kills their Brazella.
Yeah. It does do that. So here's a question for you guys. Unconditional removal, I think, is worth about 3 mana. Maybe 4, 3 if it's instant, and it has double costing.
In Modern Magic, it's worth 4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. So I think tacking on an extra point of CMC is worth the Soren's Thirst.
No.
Maybe?
I don't think it's reliable enough because once you get to 6 mana, you want to be casting something that is big. And
Yeah.
This isn't a big effect.
In Limited, you might have to run one of these. And maybe
That's what I'm getting at here.
But even then, you don't want to. All right, so ask yourself this. Would I play 5 mana, destroy target creature at Sorcery Spree? Probably not.
No.
Would I pay 1 mana, deal 2 to your opponent, you gain 2 life, you can't hit a creature? No. So the card, it doesn't do anything you want. Draining for 2 doesn't do anything to the board.
No.
Hitting a creature for 6 means you took a turn off to kill 1 creature.
Yeah.
And so, if they run a big bomb that you might need to answer, you might board it in. But if you're having to run this, you don't have a very good pool, or you're drafted very poorly.
Yeah. Or your removal is just that bad, and this is what you're scrapping for.
If your removal is that bad, you're probably better off just going aggressive and trying to win the game faster.
Now, I am certain, though, that someone will kill their opponent with this. At 2, they swing in, and they make the blocks, and they go, okay, Certain Death. And that's as good as it gets, I think.
Well, wait, it's not an instant.
It's a sorcery.
Oh, it's a sorcery, yeah. So that you
get them after.
Yeah, you
after
get them
the
post-combat
combat.
because their one guy survived. So you set it all up and you're just,
Why
causing
not just
certain...
kill the guy before you swing? And
Well, you want to style points, I guess.
You don't get to save your dude.
I don't know. It's not very brutal, though. So, Collective Brutality. This is a 1 of the black sorcery. Escalate, discard a card. This is probably the scariest Escalate card they've printed, I think.
I think tapping a creature on getting
for the color that it's in, I think this is very dangerous, very scary. So Escalate is discard a card. Like I said before, all the Escalate costs are different. So you may choose 1 or more. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You may choose an instant or sorcery card from it, and then discard that card. Or target creature gets -2/-2 until the end of turn. Or target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So what do you guys think about this one? I believe, Shawn, is your turn? Or Steven's? Somebody take a turn. That's a prompt.
If you have Madness cards, it's pretty good. As it is right now, in the limited format, this is 2 mana, give a creature -2/-2, and that's about it.
Yeah, which is fine.
You're virtually never draining. It would be better if it was an instant. It's just a worst disfigure.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
you might get a Madness trigger off of it and get to drain. There's very few instant sorceries in players' decks, so it's normally not worth discarding a card to see if they have an instant sorcery.
Yeah.
And information in limited is not as important.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're running it as a removal spell, but you're not going to the color for this deck. This card's 2.5. You're gonna run it in your deck. You're not giddy for it.
Yeah, I think construction playability is much higher.
Right.
As is our next card, we have the Crypt Breaker. This is a 1 black zombie. It's a 1/1. You can tap 1 a black and discard a card, put a 2/2 zombie token on the battlefield. Tap 3 untap zombies you control. You may draw a card and lose 1 life. So this isn't, you don't need so many thickness to be off. You can just have zombies in play and just tap them. It's a Heritage Druid, but you're drawing cards.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid. The blue-black zombies deck is going to really want this because it'll just help you get to the other Zombie Matters cards, your Diregraph Colossus, Ever Afters, things like that. And it will Yeah, fit right in.
It'll do things. Sweet. And it will bring you Dark Salvation. 2X and a black sorcery. I can just feel Shawn's.
Like we're reaching so hard for some of these.
I don't think we are.
It's like we just say a name.
These are just forced.
No,
Today has not been a good day for you.
It's just I'm just feeding into the next one. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
XX black sorcery. Target player puts. Oh, it's target player.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why would you target somebody else? Oh, anyway.
Read the whole card. You'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, I know. Target player puts X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield. Then up to one target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each zombie that player controls. So this is just kill a thing
For 1 mana. It's
mana.
really good. It's 1 mana.
People keep saying that, but there's not very many zombie decks floating around.
This is
Yeah.
true.
They need zombies for it to be 1 mana kill a thing, and most people, there's one zombie deck in a draft, and limited,
Yeah.
most people don't have enough to make a zombie deck.
Yeah.
So this is like...
This is the card that gets passed to them, and then it's favorable.
They
This
move
is
in,
you're
yeah.
going to use this so many times to give yourself zombies and not
Yeah.
kill anything. Like you're almost never killing anything with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because 5 mana make 2 zombies is fine.
Yeah. You're like you got to
If
be
it
lucky
was
to
limited,
get that
yeah.
guy.
If it was -2/-2 per zombie, then we're talking real good.
Yeah.
But as it stands, I don't think it's that good. But it's
Yeah.
still pretty cool. Next one we have is the Dusk Feaster. This is a 5 black vampire 4/5. Dark Feaster costs 2 less. If there are 4 more cards in the graveyard, it has flying, so Delirium costs less. Steven, is this card good? I had to read it again, so it's not me.
Probably not, but like I don't know, because even 5 mana for a 4/5 flyer, like that's actually pretty good. But
Yeah.
we also have a lot of 5. Is it the 5 power? Aren't there a couple rare flyers and
5/4s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5/4s. Yeah. So like it'll at least be able to trade, but if you can reliably get on Delirium, cool. If not,
Yeah,
you're not gonna want
just
this.
because black is one of the colors that wants Delirium quickly, I think it's better than it is, and I think it's probably like a solid 2.5. You know, because 4/5 flyers for 5, if you can discount it, is still very good.
Yeah,
Jump through some
definitely.
hoops, and you're probably in good shape, I think. So, next one we have is... Oh, shoot, I didn't even change for any of those cards. So here's the next 4 cards. Crypt Breaker, blah, blah, blah. And now the next cards. Here we go. Gavity Unhallowed. This is a 3 and a black zombie. It's a 2/4, and when another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Gavity Unhallowed. I'm gonna bounce the crap out of this thing.
Yeah. When I first read it, I thought it's Zombie Thalia, and I immediately moved away from that thought.
It's a very strange thought to have.
Well, I mean, you're just like, what deck wants things to die? Zombies.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like the rallying card for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you're going for.
Okay.
So, anyways, like, it's probably like a 2.5 because it's a 2/4 for 4, and then just as your things die, it's gonna get bigger and bigger. But I mean, it's nothing to write home about, but it's definitely not a bad card. In limited.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna bounce it though.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm with you on this.
You'll
one.
run it in some lists, you'll cut it in some lists.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're not,
It's filler is what it is.
you're not excited for it. Yeah, it's like the epitome of like the 2 range.
Yeah. So here's a card that I rank pretty highly that you guys might disagree with me on. So this is Graph Artist. 1 black, zombies you control have menace, and you can pay 3 and a black and exile a target creature card from your graveyard and put a 2/2 black zombie token on the battlefield. So not in sealed, but in draft, if you're in the zombie deck and you just take this, when it gets passed to you, I think you're probably going to win this game if this resolves. And you have a sizable board, you're going to crash in and then just recycle all of those zombies on your opponent's end step somehow. Maybe, I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but I think this card is super powerful.
Well, I think you're hoping to play this on turn 1, and then just every zombie you play, because there's not really any turn 1 zombies other than Crypt Breaker.
Right, like, it doesn't have to be turn 1, but like once the board gets clogged up,
it's just a good trick to have in your deck to just all of a sudden break through. I think it'll be interesting. It's a good addition with the other zombies that make you mill cards.
Yeah.
I think it. There's plenty of cards that have this effect where they exile a creature card and make it 2/2 zombie. I think that we're talking about in the blue, what was it called? Contingency plan, where you can look at the top 5 and dump as many as you want into the graveyard.
But you're not being like proactive, like when you're doing that. So like you wouldn't even want to play that.
And that's what I'm saying.
I was gonna say it just gives it a little bit more incidental value.
You just keep playing.
The problem with that is like, so whatever you pitch, now you're paying 4 mana for a 2/2.
Yeah.
So this is meant to like whenever to like negate their removal spells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The strong part about this card is because it is so narrow on what it does. It is a card that in a draftable table.
Yeah. And it don't want to play tapped either, so you can use this as a quick combat trick for a block and save something. You know.
Yep. Another onboard one, but it's fine.
It's another really flexible card. So here's our next meld card. So I'm going to jump to the other half of this card. We'll talk about the fuse card of it. So this is Graph Rats. This is 1 of the black. It's a creature rat, 2/1. At the beginning of your turn, combat on your turn, because it's important actually because of the flip side. If you control and own, so it's that ownership clause again coming into play. Graph Rats and a creature named Midnight Scavengers, exile them, then meld them into Chittering Host. So let's run down to Midnight Scavengers right here, which is a 4 and a black 3/3 human rogue that when there's a battlefield, you may return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to your hand, melted Chittering Rats. And it melds into load. Of course it's not there. We'll get there. Where the heck is it?
It's a 5/6. It gives everything +1, +0 in Menace.
Yes. There it is. Okay, so there it is. So, Chittering Host, like you said, it's 5/6 with Menace, and it gives everything you control +1/+0 until the end of turn. So, if you slap this down and you've got the rats, or if it's in your graveyard, you get this back, you might just kill your opponent on the swing. Or at least wipe their board of some significant threats. This is the only common meld card. So, if anything, you'll see this more often. But I can totally see somebody just snatching up every copy of Graph Rats they see in hopes to get Midnight Scavengers and just get there.
Yeah, you're going to run the Graph Rats regardless because they're Grizzly Bears.
Yep.
So you're going to be running the Graph Rats. If you have 2 Graph Rats and 4 Midnight Scavengers, you don't run all 6. You run as many Graph Rats as you probably can fit in there, up to 2 or 3, and you run like a Midnight Scavenger.
Yeah.
Because the payoff's good, but you don't want a bunch of Midnight Scavengers.
No.
So you don't need to go. You're not trying to flip this guy. You're just playing the Graph Rats as value, and then occasionally, sometimes you might just slam this Midnight Scavenger and do some damage. But if you have 2 or 3 Midnight Scavengers in your deck, you're losing the game. 5 mana 3/3 is not where you want to be at.
No, definitely not.
You'll run some number of it, but the Midnight, it's kind of like earlier in a constructed deck. You'll run like 4 Gisela, 1 Bruna. Like you're not going to run both in conjunction as 4-ofs.
Yeah, I skipped ahead a little bit. There we
go. The nice thing about the Scavenger, though, is you do get another creature back. So it is 5 mana for a 3/3 plus whatever.
Yeah, it's a 3/3 Gravedigger?
Yeah, but it actually... Oh, yeah, it puts it in the hand. It's not in the battlefield.
No, it goes in your
Okay,
hand.
It's not like
Okay, it's not that good.
It'd be insane if it goes to the battlefield, because that means you could just go off on the one turn.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking that you allowed you to do. That'd be like uncommon then.
That would probably be rare.
If Midnight Scavengers brought it to the battlefield, you would play more than one of.
It would be a rare and it'd be a 2/2.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And still 5 mana.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Card's still, I think, fine on its own. Or together, I think they're fine. So the next one we have is Haunted Dead. This is a 3 to black 2/2 zombie. When it enters the battlefield, you put a 1/1 white spirit creature with flying on the battlefield. 1 in a black, discard 2 cards, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Shawn?
I have no real interest in this card.
I don't either, actually.
4 mana for 3/3, no. Unless I'm real deep in the madness synergies, like discarding. I would rather discard 2 cards for my 3/4 flyer, not for this 3/3.
Yeah, I don't know. This just is. It's a weird design.
Well, you do get the 1/1 token when it comes back from the graveyard.
That's what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
Like that's a 3/3. I would rather a 3/4 blue guy.
Yeah.
A 1/1 flyer dies to anything else in combat and flying. The 2/2 dies to anything else in combat. It's a 4 mana guy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is supposed to go in the black-white, overload type of deck. Like you just throw a whole bunch of zombies in play, a whole bunch of 1/1 spirits, and just try and hit the escalate +2/+0.
But even then, like I still don't think you want.
I agree
with this card.
But I mean,
that's probably your
it's
last.
where it would go.
It's your last hope to try and pull that off, isn't it?
It's a 2. You might occasionally run it if you really need it, but you really don't want to.
Yeah, not excited about it.
It's your last hope to pull that off, I think.
Yes.
Man.
We heard it.
Liliana.
Okay.
The Last Hope. 1 black Planeswalker Liliana, 3 loyalty, +1. Up to 1 target creature gets -2/-1 until your next turn.
Yes.
That
very
is
important.
super important. -2, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard from your library. Then you return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And the -7, you get an emblem that reads, at the beginning of your instep, put X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is 2 plus the number of zombies you control. This is not linear growth. This is exponential growth.
Yeah.
This is a 4.
So this doubles +2 the number of zombies you have when you ult it.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not playing the Planeswalker for the ultimate.
No.
You're playing it for the
for the value. If you ultimate it, you've probably won the game.
Well, it'll take a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, but just that +1 every turn. Just shrink a guy until my next turn. Shrink a guy until next turn. Like this will machine gun down a good number of creatures to the point where they can't attack anymore. And I think you're just going to run away with the game if you just keep plussing here and protector every
I
turn.
think our -2 is ridiculous as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for limited, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, Liliana is a absolute 4. Her elite, however, it's a 2 and a black 1/1 zombie that gets +1/+1 for each card in your graveyard. Is also pretty good.
It's for each creature card in the graveyard, so
Yes.
it isn't. It's not as good as each card, but yeah.
Creature card.
solid.
I'm sorry. Yeah, each creature card in your graveyard. It's still, I mean, for limited, I think perfectly playable. This will come into play and usually be 3/3,
Well, it'll be a
4/4.
1/1 for the start, but
Well, maybe if you made some trades here and there, I think this thing could easily be a 2/2 or plus.
Yeah.
In certain cases, and this isn't even a bad top deck either.
yeah, it's good on an. It's
Pretty solid.
it'll be good.
2 creatures in your yard,
Yeah.
and you like it.
And I love the flavor text. You have to admit, Gideon, he has great form. It's like this guy is like,
Yeah, with the spear.
yeah,
There.
the spear. It's funny. Both of the lead female black characters in the set get a sort of soldier card in this set. One of them is actually pretty good. Actually, the other one's actually pretty good. I think. Markov Crusaders, our next card, is a 4 and a black Vampire Knight. It's a 4/3. It has flying or a haste. I'm sorry, if you have control of another vampire, and it has lifelink
Naturally.
because it's a vampire. Justin, how do you like this card?
The Markov Crusader.
Yeah.
Almost a 3. Almost. It's still like in the 2 range.
2.5 at best, I think.
I don't even think
Sir,
that
you
nice.
wrote
It's too
2.75, so
No, I think Steven's right actually. Being barely a 2.5.
Barely a 2.
Yeah.
No, it's barely a 2 because this isn't the effect that you're going to be wanting in your vampire deck. Because you want to be low to the ground. Because most of those have the madness on them.
That's true.
that's fair.
And the 5 mana, like even if it has haste, it's gonna trade with something smaller than it probably the Eldrazi token.
Anytime
Yeah.
you evaluate a card that's more than 2 or 3 mana, you have to say, is the toughness notably smaller than the power? And if so, we have a problem.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
there's a reason
Okay.
it has that.
3/2s are commonly 2 and 3, maybe 4 mana cards.
Yeah.
So at 2, you get a 2/2. At 3, you get a 3/2. At 4, you get a 3/4. And so all these guys eat this 5-drop.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
There's a red creature that has the very definition. It's like a 6/1, but it's got some other interesting effects on it. But like I think Shawn's right here. Like this is too high of a cost, and I can't imagine this really. If it flew, I think we're in business.
Yeah, if it had flying instead of lifelink, it'd be very solid.
Yeah, absolutely.
I gotcha.
So we already talked about Midnight Scavengers, so let's go ahead and scroll down to our next set of black cards. We've got Murder. Murderface.
A good reprint to have. That's definitely.
It's a great reprint to have. 1 black, destroy target creature at instant speed. It's not work if you enjoy it. I wish they hadn't given it flavor text though. In
the original.
Yeah, in M13 it was just 3 words: destroy target creature.
And it was centered. I love it.
Perfectly
Anytime they
centered,
don't do
yeah.
flavor text, they center the text. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, all Day of Judgment, or no, Wrath of God. I'm sorry, or whichever one it is from
Yeah,
the
Wrath
core
of
set. Counterspell from EMA.
Yeah.
Just do this thing.
I just want to see
Clean.
the Sundered Time Warp take an extra turn.
Whoa.
I mean,
Cool. I mean, we already
They
have
did it
Time
on,
Stop, which looks
I think
sweet.
they did it on like a promo. Didn't they?
Did they? No, because
See, I'm kind of
the Judge promo Time Warp is the what? It's not. It's the
Only
oldest
Steven
version.
knows this because he
I
plays
believe-
Taking Turns in
yeah.
Modern. But Murder's...
I can't remember the set.
Murder's
I'm
sweet.
sorry.
It's a great card. Take it highly. Play it.
Yeah.
Kill things.
I mean, look at the removal
Murder.
we've gotten lately. It's very, very expensive removal. Now we have this 3-drop.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
like-
it's an instant.
And it's instant speed, which is going to help out the Esper.
Yeah.
It's going to help out the black-white control as well as Esper.
Yeah, I think this will be... See a lot of play in Constructed, actually. So, next we've got the Noosegraph Mob. Ah, crap, I just loaded another card. Noosegraph Mob. It's a 4-black zombie 0/0 that enters the battlefield with 5 +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever a player, any player, casts a spell, remove a +1/+1 counter from Noosegraph Mob. If you do, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token on the battlefield. So, Steven, what do you think? Oh, no, Shawn. Sorry.
What card?
Yeah.
And limited cards really good.
Yeah.
6 mana for a 5/5 is not phenomenal, but a 5/5 that slowly turns into 10 power. So 6 mana for 10 power.
Yeah.
Is fine. It's there like if you're behind, it's not very good because it's 6 mana for this one body that's a 5/5. If he dies, you lose everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you can like follow it up some spells, if they cast a spell, like if they don't have an onboard trick to get him, and they have to cast a spell to get him, you at least get a 2/2.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's in limited. It's fine. You're not going crazy for it. It's a 3. You're gonna run it in your black deck. You're not gonna go to black just for it.
Yeah.
And be wary of combat with this thing, because if you attack with it, you got to make sure you don't cast the number of spells to actually just
Yeah,
kill
or
it.
they cast a spell to shrink it
Yeah.
down. So I can see some commander players going nuts for this because of proliferate. Probably one of my favorite mechanics ever imprinted. That's just getting nuts.
Also, doubling season is very popular in Commander.
Yeah,
That too.
This with doubling season would be pretty sweet.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some other advice for you guys that don't play limited and just play dumb multiplayer formats.
Oh my gosh, they're not dumb. They're entertaining in their own way.
Entertaining is a very strong
You
word.
played Tiny Leaders for a month.
Yeah, because it was vintage. Shawn did too, and it was awesome, wasn't it?
It was good.
Good times.
That's
Fin-
what Commander is for every Commander player. It's
Yeah.
this awesome
But we got to-
experience.
Shawn got to Final Fortune people out of the game.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Attack you with a 42 power Griff. Yeah. Kill you.
That deck was sweet.
That was me. I died to that.
Blue red
And
spells, man.
Oath of Liliana is our next card. This is a 2 and a black legendary enchantment. This is the completed cycle of the Oaths. When it enters the battlefield, target or each opponent sack a creature. And at the beginning of your each instep, if a planeswalker entered the battlefield under your control this turn, but a 2/2 black zombie token on the battlefield. I don't think we're playing this for anything other than the sacrifice effects, and even then, I don't think it's that good.
It's really good.
Well, limited.
Not limited. In limited, even then, like sometimes it's still just fine.
Yeah, but it's like their worst guy though. Like that's the only hang up on this.
I think there are too many spirits and zombies floating around. I
Yeah.
think there are going to be like too many like incidental tokens.
I think it's a 2 if you don't have a Planeswalker, 2.5 if you do have a Planeswalker.
You can't count
Not
on
even
it.
that
Yeah.
because
We talk
you're
about
only gonna
best
have
case
one.
scenario.
Yeah, but
But best case scenario, realistic best case scenario.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's because like
And
you
there's
might have the planeswalker in play before you play this and things like that. Like just
Yeah.
1/2/2 isn't enough to make it.
And there's
change.
only 2 in the set that could even be played with this card, or even in the block. Sorin and Liliana are the only cards that can even go with this.
there are some guys that they'll sack that are bad, but there's enough decks that are going to be in the format where they're not going to have a choice other than like something that's a 3/3, especially later in the game. It's still not phenomenal, but sometimes you need just this cheap removal spell.
And you could, I guess, work your way into it. I don't know.
You just need
I'm
to.
still not sold.
Sometimes you need to tilt the board state. Some decks won't want it, but if you have any other form of interaction, you sometimes just need to have this like low cost removal, even if it's removing something not great. The only time it's bad is against a token.
Yeah, it's definitely filler, but I can see it being used in an advantageous way.
It's like a 2. Like it'll make lists
Oh yeah,
sometimes.
solid
It'll make
2.
lists every time.
Very solid 2. Yeah, next one we have is Olivia's Dragoon. I'm not sure makes it a Dragoon. It jumps, I guess. For 1 and a black, 2/2, discard a card, and it gains flying until the end of turn. Grizzly Bear.
This set has pushed Grizzly Bear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
it
is
really
Grizzly
has.
Bear is like gone. Has been listed as Grizzly Bear with upside.
Yeah,
And Black has tons of madness in the first set. So like
yeah,
they've really pushed Grizzly Bears in this set.
yeah. End of your turn, discard one of the vampires from Shadows. Flying on this turn, I guess. No big deal.
Nah.
It's this.
Yep.
Popper, I guess, also if that's a thing, if the Dragoon can be any good, I don't know. Maybe in the black decks that want to power out a quick Gurmag Angler. I don't know. Grasping at Straws. But anyway, next card we have Prying Questions. 2 and a black, sorcery. Target opponent loses 3 life and puts a card from his or her hand on top of his or her library. Steven, I think it's your turn.
So
I don't know whose turn it is actually. I choose you, Steven. Choose.
This doesn't do anything because, I mean, yeah, you set them back, but they get to make the choice. They lose 3 life, but you wouldn't really want that anyway.
If you gained the life, I can see an argument for this.
I don't even think
just hitting your opponent doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
like the effects that put a card on top of the deck. The reason that effect is good is because it's always been on put target creature on top of its own library.
Yeah,
because they've invested mana in it. You're investing mana to do something that they haven't paid for.
Yeah.
So you're not really doing anything unless you've already got them locked in some way, and it's sorcery, so you can't like on their draw step.
On their draw step, this would be sick.
Yeah, like so there's no shenanigans you're getting into. In blue, whenever you're doing it to a creature that's in play, that's great.
Yeah.
If it's in their hand, they're like, okay, that's fine. I haven't paid any mana for this card yet. I'll just draw it again later.
Yeah. No, I think if you could combine this, because there is a spell from Shadows that puts a creature on top of their library, right?
Gone Missing, I think, does that.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you can Gone Missing into this, that's a lot of mana. That's a ton of mana.
Like, okay,
but you're still paying 3 mana for something they haven't paid for.
Yeah, like,
right.
Stunted Growth is a similar effect in that I think it's like pay 5 mana. They put 3 cards, or maybe I think it's 3 lands or something on top, and like even that is questionable to play just because it doesn't impact the board.
Yeah, if it's in play, it's better. Like Plow Under. But I think you've got to be in the super late game in top deck mode and they draw a card that they just can't play. Yeah. But they draw an extra land and they just go, whatever, I'm not going to play this.
Like so you're paying 3 mana for this. There is not a play at 3 mana that they can do that's worse than this, except for playing this against you again. Like the only way that you feel okay about playing this is if they do it right back to you, because then you're a parody. Like you're not.
So I gave this a 2.25. It probably needs to be a 1.
It's a 0.
It's
a 0. You will not run this in your deck.
Well, you shouldn't really, because there's not anything that synergizes. Because you can't mill their top card.
So say you have 6 spells. You're like, well, what's my 7th spell? This is my 7th best spell. So now you're running an extra dude. Or even an extra land. Like you're not running this card.
Play something over that.
Because they pay nothing for what you're building on top of their deck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you're getting no tempo out of it.
I don't know why this is that uncommon. Like, this is just... This is bad design. It's cool. No. It's interesting design.
Oh, imagine if it was a common. How many of these you would have in your seal?
Yeah.
Sometimes they put stuff up not because it's good, but because they don't want to force people to deal with 6 of these in a pool.
Then why print it?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they thought it felt
there is some flavor behind it. It's
not everything can be gas, and there might be other ways to do cool things with this and with other cards, but not in limited.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. Now, Rise from the Graves. This is pretty sweet. This is a 4 and a black sorcery. Put target creature from a graveyard, any graveyard, on the battlefield under control. That creature is a black zombie in addition to its other types.
We have a reanimator.
We've seen this card a lot.
And this card is good.
I like this card.
Yeah.
This card is a reason to play black.
I splash black.
Rise from the Graves has been around a lot before.
Yeah.
It's not...
There's lots of zombify effects like this.
This card will not make it in a lot of black decks. Because the problem is you need to have a good creature in either your graveyard or their graveyard. Mm-hmm. And if it turn 5 rolls around, you need to be able to Rise from the Grave something that's worth 5 mana or more to not lose.
Yeah.
And so if you Rise from the Grave a 4-drop or a 3-drop or a 3/3 or a 4/4, then you're losing it. And whatever you Rise from the Graving, if it's from their deck, you probably don't have synergy with it.
Probably not.
So unless you have a way to discard something fat and then Rise from the Grave it, which there's not a ton of fat things. Some of these Coast guys maybe. But it's really situational when you're going to want it.
Yeah. But just to flat out just put back on the battlefield is a pretty solid effect. 2.53, 3 on the best case scenario. More than likely at 2.5.
3 if you're real geared to it, 2 in 90% of the decks.
Yeah.
A lot of the decks will cut it.
Yeah.
And we'll board it out against aggressive decks. And things
totally agree.
There's a lot of aggressive decks in these 2 formats.
Yeah, totally agree to that. All right, next one we have, this is a pretty brutal removal spell. This is Ruthless Disposal, 4 and a black. As an additional cost to cast Ruthless Disposal, discard a card and sack a creature. But you give 2 target creatures -13 until the end of turn. This kills everything in the format. Just
Even the tree.
Even the tree. Like, this kills everything. It's a steep cost to pay, I think. But I think at removal this level, I think... Like, if we're already saying that 5 mana removal at sorcery speed is good enough for limited, to kill 2 things unconditionally, I think the additional cost is okay.
You are 3 for 2 yourself.
3 for 2ing. Which is...
That is a very good point, actually. Yeah, I think about it that way.
Within black, we do have a lot of madness cards. So if we do have the madness card...
The cheapest madness card's 2 mana, so now this is a 7 mana spell.
And it's not something, like, and even if you're madnessing in that spell, that madness probably isn't going to be enough to, like, really... Like, get you back from.
So at 2 mana, the cards you get madness for 2 mana are like 3 1s and 2 2s.
Yeah.
So you don't. So that late in the game at 7 mana, getting a 2/2 isn't very awesome.
Yeah.
So now you're 2 for 2ing and getting a 2 for 2. If you're sacking something, you're sacking like the guy from Shadows that costs that if he's in the graveyard he's a 2/2 and you can pay 4 mana to put a 2/2 zombie in play.
Yep.
You can sack that guy for the board stall. Like
and
the sacking is the easiest part
too. So
yeah, the sacking is the easiest part, and even then it's still not great. Like you're still putting yourself behind a creature.
Sack a 1/1 token.
The token is your best case scenario in this one.
Yeah.
So I might be a little high on this card.
You might have to board it in if they have things that are really big that you have to answer.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if they have things that are really big that you have to answer, you're probably just racing those things.
Yeah. I think so
because they'll
too.
most likely be high, or highly costed.
To be able to madness whatever, it's really just 3 for 2 for 5 mana. So you're at that rate you're actually like 4 for 2ing yourself because you're also taking an entire turn off to do this.
Yeah.
So you're not advancing; you're setting yourself back a lot.
Yeah, this card is actually kind of bad in that.
Well,
at 5 mana,
it'll fill a role that a deck needs if it really needs it.
Yeah,
and
that's
pretty much
true.
Anytime something is taking an entire turn off to do it and you're not getting a body in play, I like add an extra cost to the card of the card. Like
that's fair.
Like it's now 2 cards that I'm using because I'm taking a whole turn off, not advancing myself.
Yeah, I can see that completely. Yeah, I'm trying to think of how to make this card better.
Probably just take off the
instant.
discard a card.
Yeah, discard a card, instant speed. Yeah.
If you take off the discard card, this card's insane. Then.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem. Is like there wasn't really a good way to build this to make it not either garbage or really strong.
Maybe if it was sacrifice a permanent.
That's okay. We'll end up playing.
Permanent's
with it
really good because that's delirium.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If this was
discard instead of discard a card, just sacrifice a permanent. That's still really good.
Oh no! Still discard a card, but it's like a permanent.
Yeah, it's like a permanent.
So you're possibly putting 3 types in the graveyard for delirium to turn on whatever's on the board.
If you did that, I would still want it to be an instant. I don't want to take my turn doing it.
That's fair. All right, so play that card at your own risk. Not very good, but possibly good. Next one we have is the Skursdag. It's so goofy. Skursdag Supplicant. This is a 2 and a black, 2/3 human cleric. Tap a black and discard a card. Each player loses 2 life. Justin.
It's a card. It does things.
It's filler.
It doesn't impact the board.
It enables madness for the deck that's already going to be aggressive. So
yeah, and it's a pretty cheap cost to enable madness too.
It's not a vampire. It's
1
mana. 1 mana activates pretty good.
Yeah.
You are advancing. Not only are you madnessing, but you're killing your opponent because you're probably ahead in the life race most of the time.
Yeah, that's true.
And the 2/3 body means like you block their guy, then you activate, you get a guy, you eat their 2/2.
Yep. So that's it's okay. It's better than I thought. Yeah, I give it a 2. Probably better than that though. I think.
Yeah, it's probably like a 2.5. If you have madness cards. What's the murderous compulsion? The 2 mana.
Yeah, the 2 mana
destroy a tapped guy.
Yeah,
like turning that thing into an instant. It's always really good.
Yeah. All right. So next one we have is Strange Augmentation. Not sure what's so strange about this, but oh well. 1 black enchantment aura enchants a creature, gives it +1/+1. Also, you have delirium. It gets +2/+2.
Well, it's +3/+3. Delirium gives an additional.
What? Oh.
Yeah. No, this card's like pretty solid.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's another one of those 2-for-1 situations.
Yeah.
And it's just not going to pan out.
You put it on there, they might take a small hit of damage, and on their turn they just go boop back to your hand, or they kill it.
Or murders in the set, so they just kill it.
They murder in response. Yeah. I've never been a fan of enchantment or a base pump spells.
Auras in History of Magic has been terrible and limited.
Yeah.
You always get 2.
Yeah, there's no reason I don't think to play this. I gave it a 2.
It would actually be more playable as a 1 black instant. Target creature gets +1/+1, +2/+3 if you have Delirium, than anything else. Like, it'd be more playable as that.
Yeah, absolutely. But as it stands, not very good. Now, this next card could probably be one of the best black cards in the sets.
This thing is crazy.
Maybe. I'm not sure. Stormbringer Condemned, 2 black, 2/2 Vampire Horror. Discard a card. Vampires you control get +1/+1 until the end of turn. Active this ability only once per turn, because if it was multiple times, it'd be crazy. Shawn, is this card as good as I think it is? Maybe for constructed play, but this card has to be good.
Card is really good in constructed play. In limited play, it's going to be rough. In draft, it's more viable.
It's the Madness Enabler.
It's the Madness. It's a free enabler. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a free Madness Enabler. So it's more viable. That's what I'm saying. It's more viable in draft because you can pick and choose Madness cards. You can pick and choose Vampire cards. In Sealed, you might not have very many Vampires. You might only have like 2 or 3 Madness spells. In which case, it's a Grizzly Bear, which is the one Grizzly Bear that's tough because it's double black.
Right.
So it's restrictive on.
It's up there with the Wolf from Shadows, which got double strike if you had Delirium, which was almost impossible to cast on curve.
Right.
In a long
so
time.
That's the problem is Grizzly Bears. We've said all night because we've seen so many good Grizzly Bears are always important. They're not important when they're double colored pips.
Yeah.
But if you draft and you have multiple Vampires and you have multiple Madness cards, this is fine. In Sealed, you'll play it a little bit less aggressively. In Constructed, this could make a shakeup in Constructed.
Yeah. Very, very cool card. I like it a lot. All right, next one we have
2.5. Something like
yeah,
that.
2.5 for sure. I put it to 2.5. Next one we have is Succumb to Temptation. 1 black. You draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. When I first read this, I thought it was a sorcery. It's instant speed.
Solid.
Yeah,
Nice.
this is solid.
Instant.
Yeah.
Yep.
Steven.
This is easily a 2.5.
Yeah.
Mainly because you don't want, you want multiples, but at the same time, you don't.
Yeah.
Because you want to be, advancing whatever you're doing, and you want to actually be committing to the board rather than just, I'm going to keep killing myself, I'm going to get more cards.
Yeah. Now here's my question to you guys about this. So, Night's Whisper, which we played a lot of in EMA. We've played Sign in Blood, which is another pay 2, draw 2, sorcery speed. Is the fact that this is instant speed an implication for limited, or are you just going to go turn 3, land, succumb, draw 2, pay 2, go?
Well, there's no reason.
Because you'll main phase. You'll just represent a murder.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. Like, if you're always going to advance the board, like if you have exactly 3 land in your hand, and you're like, well, I hope I have another land on top of my library, I can get it right now, or I represent the murder, like you said, and draw the 2 cards on their instep, and just, hey, I bluffed.
So where this card, the instant's going to come into play, is later in the game when you have the ability to activate an instant speed discard, you can use this to dig into the Murder's Compulsion and Madness that card. But more than anything, so at your local store, it's going to be very finite how much this impacts the game because most players, no offense, just aren't as good and they're not paying attention. But against a good player, they're going to maybe not play their best play that turn because you're representing the murder so obviously, and then you're just going to draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
So you might be able to get them to slow their game plan down a little bit because they're trying to read you.
Yeah.
Majority of players you play against aren't reading you, so they're going to just slam it in your head and be like, "Why aren't you reading the murder I was representing?" Well, it's because they're not reading anything.
Yeah.
But it's
it's just a part of learning higher, not necessarily a higher level. It's just one of those things you need to pick up to advance.
It's another level of playing Magic.
Yeah.
I can think back to Scars Innistrad Standard, where Blue Black controls a very valuable deck, and it had instant speed card draw and Think Twice and Forbidden Alchemy. Your mana is always up, and you're always representing a Mana Leak, a Dissipate, a Doomblade, a Go for the Throw, and your opponent's was like, well, attack? I'm like, okay, I take 2, draw a card, you're in step.
Yeah.
Flashback something,
Yeah, the representation is important. Whenever I see cards like this, the instant to me more than anything, there are times where you're going to be instanting to find Madness cards, but more than this, I view this card as an instructional card for other players. It's do you see what it's doing to your opponent's game plan when you leave the mana open to do this later?
Yeah.
Not so much that it's huge, but it's to teach a player who's still learning, this is what you need to watch for. How much is this impacting your opponent? To represent this kind of thing. So it's just an interesting aspect that's going to have small, minute things, but in the important games against players who are very tight, that might actually be enough to push.
Yeah. I would like to see this make it into standard just to give us an instant speed card draw ability. Obviously at some life, but it's whatever at that point. I think.
When Read the Bones
Truths
goes
is
away,
real good.
maybe.
Yeah, Read the Bones. Yeah.
When Read the
obviously.
Bones leaves, this could replace that.
Yeah.
But
I think this replaces Painful Truths, guys.
Painful Truths isn't getting played right now.
Yeah.
No,
It's
it's
Read the
yeah.
Bones. Everybody's playing Read the Bones.
Yeah, because Read the
because
Bones lets you see
The
4.
scry is too
Effectively.
important. And
Read the Bones lets
Gotcha.
you see 4, and there's not many 3-code decks that are consistently 3.
Yeah.
And those that are dark petitioning into Seasons Pass, so they don't
Yeah.
need any of that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's too risky with how powerful mono white is to be playing a 3-color
Yes,
dark
that's
petition
the thing right there. Yep. All right, so our next card we have is Thraben Foul Bloods. We've had Pure Bloods, now they're Foul Bloods. The story continues from Virgil Innistrad. And that card was trash.
Dun, dun, dun.
2 to black, 3/2 Zombie Hound, Delirium. It gets +1/+1 and has menace as long as there are 4 more card types in your graveyard. Justin, is this card very good?
It's okay. I mean, if you get the Delirium, it's pretty sweet having a 3-mana 4/3 with menace, but 3/2 for 3, not great.
Nope.
Not even good really, but not bad. So 2.25.
Yeah.
If you can realistically turn on Delirium, you'll run this card.
Yeah, I think this card will be fine.
Yeah.
It trades
even
down.
then,
He trades down as
If he was a 2/3 man, he'd be so
Holy,
Yeah.
and then it turns into a 3/4.
a 3/4.
They
Yeah.
can get real
Totally
nuts with
different
this guy.
situation if he was a 2/3.
Yeah.
But I still think like him being a 3/2, being able to trade up to some of the 4/3s is good as
Yeah,
well.
if you get Delirium turned on, or just
Well, no. I mean, like this can trade with the other 4/3s, and then it trades with the 5/4s.
Yeah.
Well, but so if we go by the route we talked about earlier,
Yeah, that's fair.
3 is 3/2, 4 is 3/4.
Yeah.
If you're flipping those numbers, you start to get bad.
Yeah.
And if
So-
you're wanting to trade with those 4 toughest guys, is that you have to have Delirium enabled
Yeah.
already. That's just another hoop to jump through.
If somebody's playing a 4-drop with 3 toughness, either had an into the battlefield effect and it's already done its job, or they shouldn't be running that card.
Okay.
Yeah.
I misheard you earlier.
Yeah.
My apologies.
All right.
No, but the menace aspect means that this 4-powered guy can trade with 2 grizzly bears.
Yes,
and that's
which is very good, I think. All right. Next one we have is the Tree of Perdition. 3 and a black, plant, 0/13 defender. Tap it and exchange target opponent's life total with Tree of Perdition's toughness.
Triskaidekaphobia?
Limited. Yeah, if you're playing limited and you have both of these, high five everybody in the room and just do a lap as soon as you do to somebody.
You're drafting and you take the Triskaidekaphobia pack 1 and somebody passes you this tree and we're like, we're going in! It's happening.
Oh my
You'll see that more in standard than anything else.
Yeah.
There's not many control decks that want to have a 0/13 blocker
Is
that
there,
doesn't have reach.
is there any instant speed minus cards other than the 1-mana?
All right,
split
so
one?
that doesn't work. It's been so people were kind of like going, oh hey, you can tap this in response, tragic slip it. That doesn't actually work.
Okay, we've confirmed that.
If Tragic Slip would resolve before this ability, he would die.
Yeah,
There's no toughness.
and there's no ability to actually go like it's the
If you can like -12 and -12 him, then he would have 1 toughness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
then you're
that's
good.
what I was asking about the instant speed in this. I wasn't thinking -13.
that was the
but
big
like,
one people were
Oh,
talking
the
about.
zombie
Yeah.
thing?
But
Well, that's a
just
sorcery.
I'm trying to think of anything.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it doesn't even matter.
You could activate
But
it
yeah,
beforehand.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
No, you wait
just
till after.
But we're going way deep.
Yeah, like I don't think like what did I give this thing? I gave it a
it's not good.
I give it 2.5. Like it's just a
Mainly 'cause
big
it
it's
blocks.
a big old stupid blocker, and if your opponent manages to like minus it to get through it, you're gonna catch him with
So
it.
this is what we do. All right, if you have a wider board state than your opponent, all right, we're
Okay.
gonna run these 2 cards we didn't want to run before.
Okay.
We're gonna run Borrowed Malevolence, which our creature gets +1/+1. We're gonna give that tree +1/+1. Then we're gonna run these 2 creatures get -13, -13. Then we're gonna swap, and that guy is gonna go to 1 life, and you're gonna alpha with your bigger board despite the sack. Oh man, we get it. The tree can't attack though. Don't worry.
Although this does go in the Assault Formation deck in Standard.
The Witch deck.
So you
Assault
say sentences sometimes like this goes in this deck, and I feel like you don't understand that when you say this deck, you're implying that deck exists. Like
I mean,
this goes with this card that's in my box at home that's never gonna leave it. Yeah, like it goes with that. Yeah, okay.
so
I'll get you a dictionary one day.
No. It's all this is this. Don't play this card. I just have it be
No, it'll be fine.
It's a big old stupid blocker. Hey, if they Providence, you go, hey, that's cool. I'll take that.
Well, I mean,
If you're like a blue-black control deck, you're still probably not running this card. Oh no, you play this thing, right? And then you activate it before you attack with Emrakul. Right? And now they're like real low. Yeah. Oh god.
Okay, so I opened 2 Mythic Bombs in my pool. I played
You
this.
said best case scenario,
That's
man.
true.
I'm just
And
trying to obey
then
your rules.
I've probably got a couple Kings in my graveyard, so it cost 10 at that point. I'm like, okay.
so I think we need to cut this conversation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Vampire Cutthroat. I see what Steven did there.
I agreed with you. No. This is a serious game.
Yes!
This is not a hobby.
Vampire Cutthroat is a 1 black 1/1 vampire rogue with Skulk and lifelink. Is this card good, Shawn?
No.
Okay, moving on.
1 drop 1/1.
Yep. Moving on.
On the other card.
Oh.
Yeah, this card I was excited about on the stream.
Voldaren Pariah, 3 black 3/3 vampire horror flying. Sack 3 other other creatures. Transform Voldaren Pariah. Madness is triple black, and this thing turns into probably one of the scariest creatures art-wise that they've shown us in a while.
You gotta be gentle with it, man.
I'm sorry.
You're getting
I still think It That Rides is scarier looking.
Oh, like this is the Abolisher of Bloodlines.
Oh, it's low.
When it transforms into Abolisher of Bloodlines,
Oh, he got it.
target opponent sacks 3 creatures.
And it's a 6/5 fly.
It is a 6/5 flyer.
You trade 3 creatures for 3
For
creatures,
3
and a
creatures.
ridiculous body.
But the important thing is, you trade 3 creatures on your grounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, I get a plan around that. Like you just because it's not a tap ability. You don't tap her to do this thing.
Yeah.
You just do it. So it's on your terms.
Yeah, you've maybe had some spirits made, some zombie tokens. You're like, I don't care anymore. Your board is gone.
We got him.
This card is bonkers good. This is the 3rd 4 I gave out in the entire set. If I'm not mistaken.
Hard to splash. It's really hard to get.
It's hard to
black.
splash, yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
madnessing this card.
No.
Very
don't.
often.
No,
Even if you're in a
4/4,
black
I'm
deck.
sorry.
Yeah.
Even if you're in a black deck. So I don't know if I'd go full into the 4 because you do really want some synergies built around with some tokens and some recursion effects.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm worried about madnessing this thing in play.
No. I'm talking about for the main effect. Like you want some type of synergy with it. I don't want to sack 6 mana cost of Grizzly Bears, let alone anything more than that.
Oh, that's
I want
true.
tokens to sack to it. I want the ability to recur some of the things I've sacked. So like there are some times where you might not be in it, but it's like 3.5, very close to 4.
Upside is just bonkers good.
There's a goat growing out of her in her flip side.
Yeah.
Just noticed
Yeah,
that.
there's that. It's kind of a gross.
It was the
card.
one that one guy was trying to get away with from White.
The
little sheep he was running with?
desperate Sentry.
Yeah, the Desperate Sentry. He was trying to run away with that little sheep, and she's like, "I got that sheep."
Can we name the goat?
What?
I'm saying, like, does the goat get a name at some point?
I'm
I'm wondering.
I don't know what we'd name it.
The cliffhanger. That'll be Wednesday. We'll go
Yeah.
with Wednesday.
We'll figure that. If you have a name for the goat, let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
So
Card's
it's-
good. Card's
so it's
standard.
Yeah.
It's very standard. Good.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
You'll be able to like actually build decks where you're just like, I sack these 3 tokens, I do this, or I sack these guys that draw me cards and I do this.
Yep. Alright, next we have the Wailing Ghoul. 1 in a black, 1/3 zombie. When it enters the battlefield, you put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. There was a blue card that recently released that did the exact same thing. Screeching Scab.
Except it had 2 power.
It did have 2 power, that's true. So this card is comparable, and it's
Blocks all the skulking guys.
that it
That's those
does.
fucking
And
guys.
enables zombies.
Something good.
It does a lot more for like standard zombies than it does for limited.
Yeah,
Yep.
2.25, good filler, and not much else. Alright, moving on, we have the weird... I gotta move the thing again.
Oh, I want the last card.
Okay, you have the last card then. Alright, we have Weirded Vampire. This is a 3 in a black, vampire horror 3/3 with madness 2 in a black. It's a decent madness card,
Yep.
and that's about it.
3 minutes.
3 for you?
It's
Yeah.
flavor text though really makes me want to see what Runo Stormkirk looks like right now. Because we have a bunch of flavor text on various Emrakul vampires.
Oh, that actually is from Runo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's actually, if anybody reads Blogatog, which is Mark Rosarder's Tumblr blog, he actually got asked this. He said, why have we not seen Runo? And his answer was, we developed flavor text after the set's already been printed and ready to go, and we just didn't make him. Like, he's just another dude that we'll never see probably until, the return to the battle for Innistrad, City of Fields.
Well, we hadn't seen like Geralf and Gazella in the first set, and they talked about them a lot. So now we're seeing them now.
Yeah, we might see him in a supplemental product because we saw Gisa and Geralf in Commander decks. So he might be down the road, or maybe in Conspiracy too.
Or they might come back to Shadows. Shadows' flavor is sweet.
Oh yeah,
I still stand by the fact that I wish they would have gone Eldrazi because I think the flavor's so cool in this set. They didn't need to.
Yeah, I personally am a much bigger fan of more cosmic Eldrazi, or not Eldrazi, but Eldritch horror, like Lovecraftian type themes. But Gothic horror is still, I
love the old, just like the original Innistrad's flavor was just so.
Yeah, there's so much more you can dig into that, I think, and those stories you can tell are infinite. They're actually so you guys know that they did the Zendikar D&D book.
Yes.
They've got it with Innistrad too.
Yeah, it came out on the 5th. I plan on picking it up this Friday.
I thought you could just download it for free.
No, the D&D rules, but the art book that has like a bunch of story.
Oh,
and all
yeah.
that stuff. So, like the Zendikar art book, they did the same.
Yeah, whatever they're calling this, I forget what the name of the set or the product is, but they're doing it with Innistrad, and that's super sweet. All right, Shawn, you have the last card of the night, Whispers of Emrakul, 1 in a black sorcery. I know I want this card because this card's freaking sweet. Target opponent discards a card at random. Delirium, Hymn to Turok.
Yep.
Woo!
So, like, in limited...
And for those of y'all who don't know, discard 2 cards at
2
random.
cards at random. You can play the EMA draft.
Yeah.
This card is bonkers.
So, discard 1 card at random. Delirium, discard 2 cards at random. I mean, in limited, it's like 2.5. Like, you might not run this. But the thing is, like, it's still really good. So if you pay 2 and you make them discard 1 at random, they don't get to choose. So a lot of times, like, you're probably gonna get something good. They don't get to just take the best case scenario. Like, they have 2 lands. You accidentally hit their second land, they're in trouble.
Yeah, the land of the call that you need to play their next spell.
Right, and somebody was saying online, they're like, well, but if you have to wait till you have Delirium at 2 mana, then a lot of times it becomes a Mind Rot by the time you have Delirium because they only have 2 or 3 cards in hand anyway.
That's okay.
That's fine. A 2 mana Mind Rot's fine.
Yeah.
So the card's really good. Like, play around Madness. Don't do it whenever they have mana on tap so they don't get value.
Jeez.
It's a little bit harder in the limited format. I'm mostly excited for this card because I think, like, in Modern, there's a lot of these Jund lists. They're running they're running ways to make Goyf big as fast as possible, like the enchantment that sacks and deals 2. Mm-hmm. So they actually get Delirium naturally very quick.
Yeah, I've been told this goes in Jund, Grixis.
Yeah,
like this card is.
They get Delirium really fast.
Yeah.
So Hymn to Turok in Modern Jund is really, really good.
Yeah.
So I think this card is going to make a lot more impact and Standard a little bit, especially in Modern. But in Limited, it's 2-ish. Like, you might not run it because it doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah. Yep. Unless you have a Sting Scourger.
So Sting Scorcher, and you're Steven and I in an EMA draft, and you get to rip it out of their hand after you bounce.
We gotta bounce that flag bearer, darn it.
Yeah.
We gotta kill that.
That
thing.
was.
We didn't even have to because there was a triggered ability, not an activated ability, and we didn't realize this, but we made it go away.
We did it anyway. We don't want it here.
The point is, the next turn it was no longer on the board or even in their hand.
You were dedicated.
Yeah, I get
cards not great for limited. My excitement, don't take it to limited. Like, but you still might play it, but it's
I think I'm gonna play this just because Hymn to Turok is just a busted.
But it's not Hymn to Turok because you're not playing it on curve.
Yeah,
right. You're definitely not.
In limited, you're playing this on like turn 5, turn 6, turn 7. Like, getting Delirium on early in limited is very, very hard.
Yeah.
In constructed, that's
unless
a whole
you
other
get
beast.
the green enchantment that you can sack to look
Vessel
at
of Nascency, like
that.
Yeah, so if you're in green, black, and limited, maybe but even then, it's still like turn 4. Turn 3.
I've turned. How much does it cost to sack that thing again?
It's 2.
2.
So one
it's
green
one
and
to
two.
So
and then
perfect
turn 3
world,
you
you go off on turn 3.
Yeah,
because you have no evolving wild. So that means whenever you flip the Vessel of Nascency, it needs to be Delirium.
Yeah, which I've done that a lot. Like, every time I've had a Vessel, if I played it turn 1, I had Madness when I activated on turn 2. Every single time.
That's impressive.
That seems like a very.
That's really difficult.
That's probably a low percentage if you extrapolate that across a long period of games.
Yeah.
Because like either your ratio of your deck is very crazy, and still like Vessel Nascency is top 4.
I will admit
top
that I
five,
played a
top
lot of
five,
the artifact creatures.
So it's top 5
in
and you have to
Shadows draft.
snag. It's top 5 and you snag 1 card, so you're not losing something.
Yeah.
And so that means the other 4 need to be 4 types.
Yeah.
It's real rough. So like you're really like if you're realistic about this card, even best case scenario, turn 4, turn 5.
Yeah.
Because like turn 3 is virtually impossible.
Yeah.
To have consistently.
Yeah.
But
now,
even then, it's still fine.
This is going to be my knowledge of rules and stack going just being incorrect. The delirium will check on resolution, so it doesn't go to the graveyard first.
No, yeah, it's not gonna be in the graveyard. It's not checking itself.
Yeah.
So that spell is sitting on the stack.
Yeah. So don't make that mistake. There's this big white block. I was trying to figure out why the wall has gotten bigger. Yeah. So this does need to be on the stack. It will not count itself. So yeah. Learn your rules, people. Layers and things like that.
Well, layers involve creatures.
Layers involve creatures and stacks and whatnot. So that is the end of the black cards. That is into the white cards, the blue cards we've all done tonight. That is the end of the stream for the night and these episodes. We're going to be coming back on Wednesday. Now, you won't see these guys on that night.
Wah, wah.
Maybe Shawn. Shawn will be here.
You know what?
Shawn will be here. Shawn will probably be here.
And Shawn won't have to put up with any ridiculous puns because I'm sure the squad will throw a big fit.
If you've listened before...
Which means like extra profanity in places.
Probably.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably so. If you've listened to the show before, you will remember the squad. Mike, Hal, Drew, Dustin...
Hal is loosely associated.
Hal is a loose association, yeah. And Mike might be busy that night because he doesn't associate with he doesn't want to draft your box.
Oh, yeah.
So if he doesn't want to draft your box, he can't come.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, sure. That's going to be sweet, too. We're gonna draft a box of AMA that Shawn has and probably stream that for you guys as well.
Yeah, the goal is to stream that.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, so Wednesday night, the squad plus Shawn and myself.
I'm not the squad. It's not plus. Get out of here. What are you doing?
Okay, he's in the
Just
squad.
selling. Get out of here.
I thought the squad was only like those
We're
five
done.
guys.
No, we're not coming now. I'm just kidding. I have no authority whatsoever to say anything.
We're gonna be here reviewing the red cards, the green cards, the gold, the colorless artifacts, and lands. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Those guys on camera are probably a very loose cannon. That's okay, I think.
At least they're not very animated.
No, that's true. We'll need some
It's
more.
about as loose as the audio one.
Yeah, we'll need more chairs, probably.
Yeah, we'll need more.
Just a few.
Also, you're totally going to mark that podcast as explicit.
Oh, I've done for every episode they've been on.
Yeah.
100%. This will get a mature content filter on Twitch, which is, it's whatever. It happens. So yeah, look forward to that for you guys. Thanks to everybody who has been watching tonight. Really appreciate you, keeping up with our schedule. So Wednesday we'll have the last set of the reviews for Eldritch Moon. And then on Thursday night, Steven and I will be drafting the Vintage Cube. And we're not drafting Storm.
Oh, we're gonna draft whatever's open.
We're going to draft whatever's open, and it better not be Storm.
Okay, no, shut up. Like, we're gonna draft whatever's open. It's just 90% of the time it's Storm. You force, sir. You force.
But I make it work.
Don't give me that sentence to sound like you're trying.
Fortunately, he will have an extra set of eyes.
I played robots, and I started off with an Ancestral Recall, and I was like, all right, yeah, this is a good Storm start.
That's
and then
because Ancestral Recall is a good
hang on a
card.
second. I'm getting a whole bunch of robots. I'm gonna start taking these now. I did take a Brain Freeze because I had Metalworker combo. So you draw through your whole deck, play all the artifacts, and then Brain Freeze them. That still works. So I still gotta play Storm. It's great.
Robo Storm.
It was
That
fantastic.
sounds like a good movie. I would watch that. This fall, Robo Storm.
By
Don't worry,
the
that was
people
only in
who
the board.
brought
That was
you.
only in the board.
Sharknado. And what are all those really bad sci-fi movies like Man Shark and Man Mosquito coming this summer
Mega Shark.
versus Cyber Octopus? You Robo Storm. I think it might actually be.
I think it's over.
It is over. So yeah. Be on the lookout for that for you guys. Again, you can listen to all the past episodes, watch all the past episodes over on MTG Cast, Twitch, and YouTube. They're all up there now. All of our past drafts that we've done. We did our first live episode last week. Steven and I did a very formal-looking newscast. I thought was pretty good.
There was no weather or anything involved. It was just spoilers. It was okay.
We can have weather.
It was
next
okay.
time.
We'll
weather next
figure it
time.
out.
Yeah, we'll do something special. So yeah, thanks everybody for listening, being in the chat for us tonight, and you can find us always on Facebook over at EOT Newsflash. Look for us on Twitter at EOT Newsflash, Gmail EOTnewsflash@gmail.com. You can find these guys at their respective Twitter handles: S. Bill Pierce, Jay Faulkner, Busted Sleeves.
It's Justin Faulkner.
Justin Faulkner, because he wants to give away his entire name to people, apparently.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You do that on the stream.
We also did that on the stream, yeah.
Like,
That's,
literally all the time.
It's like a plug or something.
it is. We are plugging ourselves.
Yep, that's how it works.
Yep.
One day I'll start actually using it.
Yeah.
I tweet about once a month, maybe.
Yeah.
I tweet whenever I go to events. Like I'm trying to get better at that. You know,
Yeah,
I want to start getting better at
following.
tweeting events.
It's a process for sure.
And we're just gonna do it again.
We're just gonna do it again on Wednesday and on Thursday and then Monday here on henceforth, forever. Amen.
Amen.
Cool. So yeah, thanks for watching and listening tonight, guys. And we will check you guys out. And on Wednesday. Bye. And the stream is still going. Is there anybody in the stream right now? Anybody in the stream?
There are 4 people.
There are 4?
My phone's about to die.
I see
3 people.
I see 2.
Okay. Well, my phone registers.
Do we get comments all on it?
We had a bunch.
Wait,
you
my
stop the
phone.
stream?
My phone wasn't updating those.
Did you stop the stream?
Well, the problem
Oh,
was
so
that
we're-
he couldn't follow the stream.
We're still streaming right now.
Oh, okay.
I can stop the stream
because
though.
yeah,
I
he
wasn't
couldn't
getting those comments.
Are we done streaming?
Yeah.